way.
He finds a way, yes. Finds a
Yep.
way
To do whatever mischievous things he wants to do. Yep.
That's okay.
Yeah, oh yeah. And he's the fastest little rascal too. He's lightning speed little dog. People say that, oh, the coyotes will take him. I said, no, not easily. He's so fast and he's young, so he can see and hear like he has his senses.
Coyotes out there? Regular
Oh yeah,
bees?
we have lots of coyotes.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
And bobcats. Our street neighborhood is next to the Cleveland National Forest. That is a large nature reserve. So yeah,
Okay.
I saw a golden eagle today. It was here too.
Wow.
So yeah, we have lots of wildlife just outside the door. That's the amazing thing, is that we have wilderness next door and big city around the corner. So it's really, really nice to live here, meaning it's like 10 minutes away and you're in big city almost with car, and we still have nature outside the door. So it's, yeah, it's fabulous. Yeah. That's why it's expensive to live here. Yeah.
It's getting expensive to live almost anywhere.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Okay, so now we're going to talk about some of the biggest areas in the in Greyhawk, so to speak. Yeah.
They are big.
I posted some projection stuff on my Patreon today, so look at the big picture, because now when we have to start presenting maps, then you have to start looking into projections and stuff to figure out how to do the maps in the best way. So I have some examples what they look like when the area corrected and stuff like that.
Oh wow. Nice. Send a message to Ed to see if he had any Sundays nights available on.
Yeah.
He didn't. Well, he responds. He responded to that.
Yeah. He's busy going through those containers with all the cool stuff in them.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna ever get to those for some reason.
No, that's true. He needs to hire a bunch of people. That's the good stuff.
Back in 2001, when we first began working with Gary Gygax, he pitched this wonderful series of books to us. He called them the Gygaxian Fantasy Worlds, and what he envisioned was this encyclopedic set of books for role players, writers, game designers, the whole lot of us. Use in making our games, creating our adventures, writing stuff for publishable content, whatever it may be. And there was really
I have
no
a surprise.
ends to what he envisioned
Okay.
the series to be.
Yeah.
We eventually published The Canting Crew, The World
Something I
Builder,
got. I
and
haven't opened it
Fantasy.
yet.
7 volumes.
Uh-huh,
in
so
total.
we-
I didn't get,
We're
I
gonna
didn't
have
get it
a
at Gary
three
Con like I
ready to
was
go to
promised
print.
I'd get
Another
one,
3
but
or
I
4
didn't
after
get it
that
there.
that we're
Uh-huh.
working on. So, this
So
is
we will have an unboxing
We are
live.
bringing-
I
on
don't know if I want to
That's
open it
what
or
this
not. That's a good
Kickstarter
question.
is.
I'll
Oh,
show
you
you.
don't want to
7 books
open it?
online
I'm
ready
not
to go.
sure.
We've got
Now
another
you're
3
teasing
right
us.
after
Now
that.
we want to
Yeah,
see what it
I am.
is.
I will. I
Yeah.
definitely will show it.
As we were working on it
Okay.
at the time, those will be out definitely in PDF, depending on how well the
That
Kickstarter
I will
does,
definitely do.
and maybe even more than that. Once
Now
we
I'm
kinda
getting
push
curious here.
beyond
Yeah.
the necessary stretch goals and all that mess.
Hey, what's
But,
up, Dave?
Welcome to the what we're calling the Gary Gygax World Building
Hello.
Archive.
Do you? Yeah, Bill.
please
Yeah,
give us your
I
support.
got it. I
Share it
got
around
it
if
the
you
days
can.
and nights in
Pledge if you
Delaware.
can.
No tax,
Whatever you
dude.
need
I
to
got a
do,
deal
whatever,
on it.
Whatever you can do for us and the memory of Gary Gygax.
Now
we
I'm
very
now I'm
much
able to go
appreciate
back down there again for traveling.
Troll Lord Games. Join the fray.
Maybe we'll see. What's up, Dave? This is gonna be a good discussion tonight. I'm trying to. Gary Hoyen, Puffin Smedger himself, says he's coming on hour 2. This is always. That's Chuck. Chuck, that Troll Lord Games Join the Fray is always way louder than the ads. Yeah, yeah. And if I turn it down, you won't be able to hear Steven. So. I'm all about blaming someone else, Bill Guardian. It works easier that way. The Troll Lord died. Yeah, it was loud. Because at the end, the Troll Lord Games during the phrase way louder than Steven's voice. Yeah, it's been a long day for me too, Bill. You said you're gonna be late tomorrow night, more than likely, huh? That's right. I'm going to kill you all off anyway, so it doesn't matter. I mean, if you guys whine any more this week, oh my God, you're whining last week. We don't get magic items like Dave got when he was playing. What? Whoops. Nice. Just because I gave them. Look at this shit's. Jeremy. Did I kick me off? Yeah, okay. Shout out feels weird at you. Alright, what time is it? It's 6:54, so I'll go on the entry screen here and then we'll get one early BS.
Yeah, we need to see your stuff that you got.
It is. It is. Loot is appropriate to the setting or the adventure or the story. Hey, chilling's a good thing there, dude. I'd love to chill tonight, but I'm doing this. Woohoo!
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what happens when I do 4 streams a week for every week in April and May. It's my own fault. So I can't. No one to blame but myself. As the Led Zeppelin song goes, nobody's fault but mine. If anyone can tell me the album Nobody's Fault But Mine is on, you can assign a regular hero point tomorrow night. You got 30 seconds. Do not look it up. You guys aren't old enough, I guess.
I bet that a lot of people, average age in the chat is probably around where we are.
Yeah, they should
We're
get
close.
that.
Yeah.
No, yeah. Hey, Greg, can you? Maybe they can't hear me. Just someone say that you can hear me, and I'm not talking, and I'm not talking to myself. Okay, good, Sam. The answer, I think it's in through the outdoor. not in 3D outdoor. I mean, the presence, on presence. It's on presence. Yeah, almost positive. Yeah, presence 76. Yeah. Isn't that cool? Yeah. So there's some recommendations for this area. Okay. Now I don't know if I'm going to do this or not live. I just don't know. But I was in Delaware, and I wanted to get this at GaryCon, and two things came to my mind. Number one, I don't have any room to send anything back, so I'm gonna have to ship this just because I don't have room in any of my luggage, right? And
Yeah.
two, completely forgot, and it sold out, and that is, it's 5th edition, but
Oh, the deck of many things.
yeah, but I got the nice, I got
Yeah.
the special cover.
Yeah, the
edition.
the special. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
It came out. What is it? Early this year, or was it
No,
last
it just
year?
came out, right? Yeah, it came out, and it was at GaryCon too. They had a special on it. So, but I got it
Yeah.
in Delaware, and I got a special on it too. So there you go. I got
Good.
It's
Yeah.
still sealed, so I don't know. Maybe I'll open it. I'm not sure.
Well, otherwise you have to keep it sealed and it will be worth a fortune in 30 years or so.
I'll still be alive in 30 years, I think.
Yeah, it will be like an investment for your son.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, and then the magic cards underneath me will be worth like 80,000 instead of 40,000.
Yeah.
Open it? I may open it. I may. Wait a minute. Same. So we may have another special guest coming on. Too.
Oh, wonderful.
I'm working on it.
Yep.
All right. So we may have. So Gary Julian has told me he's coming on in an hour or two. Puffett's Measure himself. They had trouble with the foil cards. Yeah, is that what it was?
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah. So I had my choice. I wanted to go with the limited cover. I think it was cool. So Jay got a bolt at 9 p.m. for hockey. So in the giveaway, you need. All right, don't worry about it, Craig. Don't worry about that. Let me set that up too, as I forgot. Just so much going on. So when you do 4 streams, and no one whammy, I'm not bitching. When you do 4 streams, and you got 2 talk shows, right? And I came tomorrow night, and I got all the ads out, and I'm trying to get shorts out. I couldn't get a short out today because of work. And then I got the terrain set up for Thursday, and then I got a Friday at some point, change the terrain, and get pictures of that for the BattleTech game Saturday morning. I'm like, when the hell am I going to do that? I'm going to have to do that Friday night, tomorrow night. But it's my son's birthday, so we're all going out. So I'm like, we're playing BattleTech on Saturday because my son. I was like, what do you want to do? You want to go? And he's like, can we continue the BattleTech game? I'm like, all right, sure. All right, so I can't even grab, like, this is like 1/20th of the pile, so there's all sorts of great stuff here. I'm looking to see X5 is here, which is part of this series that we're going to discuss. X4, X5, and X10. But I think I only have X5. Let me look. It could be down there somewhere in the pile. The first 2 are by Zeb Cook, and the third one is actually an X series. I didn't know they made X-Spec Battle System series ones. Did you know that, Anna?
No.
I didn't know that. I did not know that. An expert that's in Battle System. So, hey, Jim. All right, so tonight we're going to talk dry steppes and sea of dust.
Yep.
An area that is devoid, but it's not really. I mean, it's pretty devoid here, and they're huge areas. The dry steppes. I think dry steppes is actually bigger, isn't it?
Well, it's almost a third of the map, so
yeah, it's bigger than Sea of Dust.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That is way bigger. It's almost, if you include the whole north of the Sulhut Mountains, is like 4 times the size. So that's huge. Yeah.
It's huge. Is this? Yeah, and I think this is where Alec Park takes place, right?
That's from the Cup and the Talisman. Yeah.
So there are some locations here that actually have adventures, and we'll discuss that.
Yeah.
As we go, and also we'll get into some theoretical things. Like, where do you get this map, Grognardi? And Anna will link her download for you.
Sure, hang on a second. We can, you
No,
can.
mine has custom edits on it, Grognardian, but don't worry about it because Anna's got a lot of great, Anna's got all the, canon and what's considered fanon canon for Greyhawk for us. So it's got every single thing you want on there. Yep, the master cartographer. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
All right, so just remember this week, Legends and Lore tonight. Finish up an adventure tomorrow night with a bunch of demons in it. BattleTech Saturday morning, and then a Gabbin Sunday night. I'm still working, trying to get. I've had special guests the last 2 weeks. Trying to get another special guest. Was that cool? I had the producer of the Blair Witch Project on. Did you ever think in a million years I'd have a movie producer on the show?
That was so cool.
Yeah, that was awesome Sunday night. That was really neat. Just going. And by the way,
we had so much nerding out. It was so cool.
Hold on. I did this. I did the Kickstarter. I did the $60 tier because it goes from 60 to 500. So I did the $60 tier on it. There, very clever. There is the. Oh, thank you, Dave. There it is. It's a look. I am recommending it because it's fun, and you're gonna have fun playing it. So there's a $30 one. You get the game and all its glory. So just check it out. And I know Mr. Baker will appreciate it.
Yep. I put a second link. The first link is to my webpage where you can download all the different versions and see all the posts and stuff. And the second one is to the easy zoom version of the map where you can just see it in the browser. You don't have to download anything. And I can also take this link just for the heck of it, for fun. This is my campaign version of it. It's not as up to date, but it has a bunch of my campaign stuff that is on the so it's the Meyerhawk version.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so it's a little bit out of date here and there, and it has a bunch of extra, so to speak. So so that's the version that I use for my campaign.
So one other thing, while we have some people on, thank you for the support. I got the tier 1, and its partner affiliates are eligible too. I got the tier 1 upgrade for revenue sharing because of. And here's the weird, for Twitch. Now here's the weird thing: it doesn't count Prime subs, and it doesn't count gift subs. So this is people who pay for tier 1, 2, or 3s only. That's how they get you on that. So you can't like fake pump it up with with gift subs. So, but thank you all for the support, and yeah, that meant something because normally everyone gets stuff taken away. This was actually something and for a positive. So I was really proud of that. And thank you. Thanks. All right. So an area I rarely adventure in, Anna. Rarely, but once in a blue moon, I've thrown some adventures in there. Normally,
sorry, then you're braver than me because I don't think I've ever adventured out there.
Normally, I think I've done it twice. I have thrown adventures in here to destroy things. This is where you need to go to destroy it, right? And
okay.
I believe that one of the orbs of Dragonkind in the article by Roger Moore, there was you could destroy one of them in the Sea of Dust, if I recall. Because they did, I know they came from the Sea of Dust. It was something like that.
Yeah,
I think they actually emanated from the Sea of Dust.
It's been involved in it because it's one of these kind of cool epic locations. So it's really cool to kind of put it in there because it is an epic location.
And a lot of people don't realize how far south it is too. Because if you look here, I mean, Sassarine's
it's in the tropics.
Yeah, Sassarine and Cauldron's here, and the Hell Furnaces are here. Now the Hell Furnaces with the G is higher up, right? But
the Hell Furnaces is just an extension of the Crystal Mists.
Right.
That after after the cataclysms, it became volcanic and all of that and so on. Before then, it was just part of the Southern Crystal Mists.
Yeah. Absolutely. I keep on looking back and forth here. So,
and this is also a region that has been affected by lore, so to speak, in that sense, even geographically. And there's different. You can read in different ways of doing it, but it was the northern part was the Bakloonish part of the Beclunish basin, so to speak, and that was where the large part of the Beclunish Empire hung out, and Kanak or whatever the name in yeah, Kanak was one of the major cities, and then you had the twin cataclysms and the reign of colorless fire and that kind of went. And south where we have Sea of Dust, that was where the Sul Empire had its last stand, so to
Right.
speak.
And we'll wait
So
for
yeah.
Gary to come on in hour 2.
Exactly.
And
We
she's going to
talk
show
about,
some
because Gary and
history.
me, we kind of fiddle out. We
Yeah.
figured out a way to make that work, both with lore and geography and stuff. So we're going to take that in part 2. But it's interesting because the way I see it is that a lot of this changed during it looked very different before the twin cataclysms, and that's something
And there's a lot of
you can play
speculation
with.
on what, and you kind of
Exactly.
try to figure that
You
out.
can make it, because we barely know. We know the thing happened,
Right.
but we have hardly any clue of what it looked like before it happened, so to speak. So a lot of that is something I speculate so I can make it work for my campaign, so to speak. So, and that's something I suggest you do for your campaign too, because that way you can decide where the forgotten cities are, where the buried treasure that belong to, and so on and so forth, and are hidden. So yeah.
Do we know who shot first?
I think it was the Sul that shot first, and the Bakluni returned fire, if I remember correctly, because the Sul had they had the big power, so to speak. So they went first, and then the Bakluni returned in fire
Okay.
in unexpectedly. It's like a nuclear war, so to speak.
Yeah.
The Sul probably never thought that, if they thought before, if we strike first, that we will knock them out and we will be safe, and then the Bakluni returned the favor, so to speak.
For some reason, yeah, I think that's the case. But I always,
Yep.
I don't know if Rich would make changes to that or not. But I always, like in the
Yeah.
back of my mind, I'm thinking, was it actually the Backlooney that struck for? You're probably
Well,
right. You're
yeah, and it's
100%.
also it's what we know from
Yeah, I'm looking
the
to see if I have.
written record, so to speak. But that can be just propaganda. If you want to
True.
change and make a true version of the story,
Yeah, I'm looking to
that's
see if
up
I
to
can
you, so to speak.
find.
As a DM,
All right,
you
I
can
found
make
it.
out what actually happened, and then you can have all sorts of lore or propaganda, myth, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool. There could be a meaning that might be one version where the Scarlet Brotherhood might have their view of what happened, and if you ask anyone in Zeef or up in the Becluni's land, they might have a
All right,
completely different idea of why and how it happened,
let's take a
so
look
to
here.
speak. Yeah.
All right, I love that picture. Bone,
Yeah.
as everything's getting slaughtered here. All right, it
Yeah.
should say.
And the account we have in these books is the Great Kingdom, the origin version, so to speak. That's the version written down by Prophet Smedgir the Elder
Yeah.
in Relmord in 300 years after the campaign played out, in, like, what was it, 900 something. So that is, so what's written here, you can take that as one version of it. Might not be the truth. It's what the Great Kingdom thought of it afterwards, so to speak, or
Yeah.
historians in the Great Kingdom
And
thought about it.
there's not a lot written at all about it in this original.
No, and they
Yeah.
expanded on it.
Yeah.
If you read the Living Greyhawk Gazetteer, it's a longer version, more elaborate and stuff. So they added to it through the years. That has the first bare bones version, and then they added a little bit in
Right.
each of the iterations from there. I don't think they changed anything from here. They just added more information to it, so to speak.
Yeah. So the Backlooney cast back. There you go. Yeah. And from
Yeah, I
that,
think that was the case.
and
Yep.
from and what's weird is there, from that you get all this. Some of this migration was before actually too.
Well, yeah, I think it's the migration time started, and then the whole conflict broke out, and all we have are sketchy legends and myths written down by Pluffert Smedgir the Elder,
Right.
2,500 or something years after it happened. So it will be like we have someone in this day and age wrote down how the pyramids got built or something like that. So there's plenty of leeway for you as a DM to kind of come up with your own true happenings, what actually happened, and then you can come up with versions of it and so on, and also work out the magic behind it and stuff too. Meaning, what if someone can start wielding that type of magic again? or that type of magic, is that still available somewhere? Are there still wizards and others or gods that can still wield that magic?
Right. Well, there is, and there's items too.
Exactly.
I mean,
Meaning you can play. There's ideas and little hints that
yeah.
Reldeven has the Eldritch Wizardry Council of Reldeven safeguard some of the knowledge from the Twin Cataclysm. That was hinted at in, I think, Living Greyhawk or something. So there are hints and ideas and little nuggets here and there. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I'll show one of those in Greyhawk Adventures. But if you look at this map here, this shows like it's extended how big, like, and here's all right
yeah,
here. But
mm-hmm,
if you
yeah,
count all that, I'd say huge.
mm-hmm,
But a
yeah.
lot of this area is populated, of course, because of the
Oh, yeah,
along the
especially in
sea.
the northern parts,
Yeah,
because that's probably as far away from
it's
Kanak in the
huge.
south, the better it survived after the
Yeah,
twin cataclysms. But it's interesting. What we called the Bakloonish West in the Greyhawk books, it's actually the Bakloonish East, because the Bakloonish Basin, it's the part that we see on my map and on the Darlene map and stuff. That's the Bakloonish East, but it's called the Bakloonish West. But the Bakloonish West is in west of the Gulf of Gayar. That was presented in a book that that we have a link in PDF that was
yeah.
done.
The
And
Gulf of
yeah,
Gyre is good. Yeah.
exactly, guide and stuff that presents the western half of the Baklooni
Here,
Empire too. So
we had
yeah,
a show on them. Whoops. Yeah. So
exactly. Yes. Yeah.
here's,
Exactly. That one presents
and
the
this
the
one's even
western
further.
part
That
of
one's
it.
even further west.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
So it's kind of misleading when we talk about the Bakloonish West. We're actually speaking about the Bakloonish East.
true.
But that's the
But
Great Kingdom
yeah.
view of
Hey,
it, is
hey,
that
George.
it's so far west. So yeah.
Yeah, that's a real good point, Anna.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's just so, because if you're new to the setting, it might confuse you. But if you know the reason why it's called that way, because it was for the Great Kingdom, it was all west. So no one cared about the Bakloonish West. They just called it
right.
Bakloonish West, the part they could see west of Ket, so to speak. It's far out west.
This is a dumb analogy, but it's not. It's kind of funny. Some
Yeah.
of you will get a kick out of this. If Rob Phantom was on, he'd get a kick out of this. I live in South Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
It's a small state, right? So there's an interstate that cuts it through across the middle. Like everyone north of that's 195. But where Rob lives, anyone near New York, South Jersey to them is like anything along the shore or like
Yep.
Morris County.
Yep.
I'm like, no, that's North Jersey, and they're like, no,
Yep.
that's South Jersey.
Mhm.
So it's just
Yep.
it's a point of view thing.
It's the same thing in Sweden. They always say Northland. That's the Lapland, so to speak, meaning
Yeah.
the far north. And the far north is always north of where you live. So to
Yeah,
speak. So
exactly.
people that live in the far south, they will say, well, people Stockholm and further north. And in Stockholm is like you could go hours north
Yeah.
before you hit the northern wilderness, so to speak. So it's kind of it's where you live. So whatever north of where you live is the wilderness.
George, I think you started watching after Gary Con. I want to show you something. Anna will link. Can you link those where they are, Anna? The Gulf of Gyre.
I'll see if I can find them here in.
Well, I want to
yep.
show you something. So this is what I showed at Gary Con during the where do you see this pile? I don't have LA1 and 2 here. They're in the other pile. All right. So we showed, these are all publications that have come out in the last year and a half for the community.
Yeah.
Arma Qualish, that's on Cannibal's site, right?
Yeah.
Right, that is, and also where Altamir is. There's the first Grey Grimoire. I guess second Arma Qualish, sir, sorry. Visions of Greyhawk, Volume 1. All right. My Altamira book.
Yep. Oh, the teaser.
Yes, the teaser. Yeah. Gulf of Gyre and the Domain of Despotic Giant King. Both were linked by Anna.
Yep.
Ocean's Bounty, again on Cannibal publishing site, along with Qualish
I'll
and
find the link to Cannibal Publishing here in a second.
I think I have a shout out too. Visions of
Okay,
Greyhawk,
good.
Volume 2. A great article about. Oh, and by the way, Dave, specialty priests of Saint Benedor are in here, and Ashley, Minister of the Muse, is playing one a week from Saturday in the game. There's the Gary Con event guide. Grey Grimoire Volume 2, or that's Volume 3. That one was not shown at Yeah, that was shown at GaryCon. It was brand new. And then the Len Lakofka adventures, LA3 and LA4. Yeah, so we showed all that. It was brand new. It was content at GaryCon in the seminar, just to show you that things are really rolling along with the community, right? Yeah, yeah. She's playing. She hasn't named it yet. The character's completely done. A half elf female from Selene. Saint Benedor is the deity that hunts death knights and undead. It's gonna be awesome. Yeah, Visions of Greyhawk are available in PDFs, absolutely. And I think they're on Canon Fire site. Sam, are you on Samwise? Can you link them? Can you link the Visions of Greyhawks and the Grimoires if possible?
Yeah, I'll link them.
Yeah, Anna will
find
link them
here.
too. So we'll link all
Yep.
those, yeah, so you can all get them all. Yeah, there goes Sam. He'll do it too.
Okay, perfect. Thank
Yeah,
you.
thanks, Sam. I appreciate that. So yeah, and that's
Yep.
that's what's going
Lots
on,
of
you know.
awesome
So
stuff. Yep.
yeah. So many great things. Here comes some stuff going.
Mhm.
And like I said, use this along with some of the older journals, recent art journals too. You know, ones within 2 years ago and back, all the way back to the 28, which was the GaryCon come out party, right?
Mhm.
That one, I couldn't make it because of a work conflict,
Yeah.
and that was
But that
pre-COVID.
kind of it started, and then
That was the
it's
Renaissance beginning.
continued. Yeah, continued since then, and it's become more and more stuff. So yep,
Yeah, that was 20. I'm gonna say it was 2018.
2018 or 19, I forgot which. Yeah,
Yeah, I think it was 2018. No, it might have been 2019. No, it was 2018. I don't know.
19. That's like 5 or 6 years ago. So
I
yeah.
know
Mhm.
things. Time is
Yep.
just flying by.
Oh yeah.
What year
Mhm.
was Gen Con? That was No, that wasn't 19. It was 18.
Must have been 19, I think. Yeah.
It was not.
I think it
No,
was the year that was
was
the
18.
last one before the COVID one. That was the one that 19 was the last Gen Con I went to.
Yeah, but
But
I think it was 18 that we went to.
yeah,
When
because
the Greyhawk
we've been
channel
to
went.
2 Gen Cons together, I think. So
No,
yeah.
one. I only went to
Okay,
one.
then it was
18.
okay. Then it was
18.
okay. 18.
Yeah, it was
Wow.
18.
Yeah.
Thanks, George. Yeah, I know, and that's where Carlos and I did Horror and Hools for the first time together.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so all good.
Also, you weren't at Gen Con 19.
No.
Only 18.
Only
Okay,
18.
got
I was
you.
only 18
Yep.
when they had the flop house. Remember?
Ah, yes, that's true. Yep.
Yeah, it was cool. It was a cool
Yep.
moment.
Mhm.
So you got a lot of stuff to look at, and just
Yep.
but I think that we can track back the publication community revival back to that Gen Con.
Yep, that's when it really took off.
And GaryCon of that,
Yep.
and then it really started taking off. But with
Yep.
that, there's a lot of stuff, and Alan Grohe's crazy, right? We all know that. So he gave, I mean, the amount of stuff he has given me, and I'll put this list up. So because what tends to happen is there are a lot of publications that are done by TSR or done by Wizards. They're generic, right? They're generic desert. Well, look at this list. All right, these are desert adventures just in Dungeon Magazine that Alan has found.
Yep.
I mean, my gosh. So
And a lot, they can be, with a little bit of adaptation, they can be set in somewhere in this western part. So
yeah, a lot of these I've run. Wing, Spike, and Teeth, I know I ran.
okay.
Denizens of the Bright Desert.
Where did you set them? Do you record what location you put them in, or?
Well, only when I start. Only around adventure 400, Anna.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
Yeah, 'cause,
everything becomes a little bit uncharted back in history.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
the same thing
absolutely.
for me. I don't have good records for more than maybe to 2004 or 5 or something like that. Before then, everything is hazy. I think I started running a campaign that was persistence somewhere around 2005-ish or something like that. Before then, it was a lot of adventures that was, some of them were related to each other, but it was definitely not like an ongoing campaign until then.
Rexfell, so Rexfell, so you on Cannon Fire or you on Greyhawk Events Discords? You on either one? I'll just throw it. It's a JPEG. That's all it is. It's a snip JPEG out of Discord. So you just tell me which one you're on. I'll just pop it into the chat somewhere, and you can just download it. I mean, it's just a JPEG. Because Alan gave us so much stuff. All right. First things first. when you think of the Sea of Dust, you think of an area. Oh, wow, that's where the Soul Empire is. What's going on there? What's adventuring? What's available now? And that's kind of not true. There's some things. There are things that going on. There's adventures that actually are placed in these areas too, and there's ones that are generically placed as well, or they're retconned back, right? And so that's something good here. So let me go to 236 here. Greyhawk Adventures. Okay, all right. So Greyhawk Adventures, and thanks a lot for the hype. Appreciated it. Yeah, you'll get that. Yeah. So just if you guys are on any Discord, I'll throw it in. Just let me know. You're on Cannon Fire. All right. Well, here. It's going to general chat. Wait a minute. If I crash the stream, oh, thank you.
Uh-oh.
Thank you so very much. All right, so here we go. Grey Talk, right in Grey Talk chat. Big Mac and looks like Sam is talking. I know Rob Kuntz has been on there last 3 days.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Here we go. There it goes. Grow Dog list. There, it's on. I just linked it there, and you can just download it right there. It's just a JPEG. All right. So there you go. Yeah, I saw Rob is around. He's been talking a lot, so I said, Rob, you should come into chat and all, but Rob doesn't know how to do that. Thankfully, he's on. He's in the Discord.
We should be happy
right now.
every time we get him on something, so it works. Yep.
Yeah. So. Yeah, he's posting as we speak right now, fellas. He's actually on in chat right now. I said to him, "Why don't you try and figure out how to get on Twitch and just talk?" Now remember, I've had Raul on 3 times, but it's just Zoom. He's not on Twitch. We're looking and answering it for him. I don't think he's gotten to that point yet. So we'll try. Thank you so very much getting us over that level 1 hype. All right, so classic D&D reprints here. All right, now an item. Do not give this item out as the candy in an adventure, please. I don't know. I'm shocked this made it through the editors, but we know they did this thing in what 90 days. This whole book.
Yeah, it was a quick thing, and a lot of it was probably laying around. So Jim kind of put together a lot of the source material and kind of made it into a book.
Maybe it's possible.
Or maybe he wrote it all in 90 days. Once again, might explain a thing or two as well.
Yeah, we can't ask him now, unfortunately, anymore. I asked him multiple times.
But we've had him on and he talked about it. That's why. So if you go back and listen to it, he probably said more than I remember. Yeah.
Magic items. All right, here we go. Rings. Here we go. It's coming. Here it is. All right. Page 75. I will not give this out. In fact, Marco ran an adventure. A guy had this, and I'm like, "You're crazy, man!" Because if it gets in the hand, this thing is so deadly. This is one of the nastiest hardcore, super high artifacts in existence. We're mentioning a lot of writers submitted materials for Greyhawk Hardcore. So my guess is, Rexfellas, that he just was throwing anyone who threw something in. They just used it. Right, because they're like, we got to get this together. Hey, it's not as quick as the Sergeant Rick Rose Greyhawk Adventures book that they did. That was a weekend, as Malden told me. By the way, Malden's trying to come on. So, all right. So look, in Discord, watch. So Rob Kuntz just put, so Jay, what's that list relate to? And I'm gonna put discussion on Twitch right now. Sorry, I'm multitasking. Dust and dry steps came from Alan Crowe. Yeah, I guess I don't want to make Rob feel bad. All right. Fire Wand of the Sulwys. This wand may have been the device that caused the destruction of the Soul Empire, or it may have been created to reproduce the event. Either way, that's not good.
Ooh, that's a good one. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But he leaves an or, so it's an and or. It's not a sure, so to speak.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No scholar doubts that its creator was. You know what? I may do a short on this one. Because I was like, hey, you want to recreate the devastation? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So don't anyone steal that idea. Thanks, Cyber.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Do not steal that idea.
But it's kind of typical that there are lots of little hints and nuggets
Yeah.
like this spread out through Greyhawk lore, which is really cool.
Yeah.
That no sure confirmation, only hints and ideas and possibilities, so to speak. It's which I think is really good from a campaign world building standpoint, so to speak. Don't give too much, so to
Oh,
speak.
Patrick,
Just hint at it.
thanks. See, I don't want to bust Patrick now. He just let me finish this
Oh,
talk
he's just
now.
awesome.
Yeah, but yeah, it's something funny. Some
Uh-huh.
people get a kick out of this. All right, so the wand is no scholar doubts its creator was a wizard of great power and violent tendencies. The wand is rarely bought or sold since few magic users dare to use it. The wand can summon a deadly fire to rain down in a 60-foot cube from a range of up to 80 yards. The fire inflicts 5 points of damage per round to all creatures, regardless of protections, resistances, or immunities to normal magical flame. There is no save. That's pretty disgusting. No save.
Yeah.
Furthermore, such damage cannot be cured by any spell less than a heal. That's 6th level, right? Fire will destroy buildings left in stone construction and evaporate freestanding liquid to a depth of 1 foot per round. Objects exposed must save disintegration or be destroyed.
There you go. Mm-hmm.
The fire.
There are some tough stuff hidden away here. Yep.
The wand can be recharged, but only in the quasi-elemental plane of ash, which lies between the elemental plane of fire and the negative material plane. So.
Well, then it's not the easiest thing to get it recharged. Yeah.
So why? All right. So why were 0 level players included in that book? Is a good question for ourselves. My guess is that it was 89, right, when that book came out, and they had there was a lot of I want to create more flavor for my characters. 1, 2. They had classes like Cavaliers that existed that had negative levels already, right? That you had to train up to get to 0. And I think they said, I think it would be a good idea. City adventuring, there's a lot of common folk. There's a lot of people who are like laborers or whatever, want to become an adventurer. I think that's the whole gist behind
it. And I think it's a good idea to start 0 level. I do it in my rules. I have it. It's a way of increasing the sweet spot. Meaning all rules have a sweet spot when it's the most fun to play. And that's usually from low level up to 8, 9, 10 or whatever. And after that, a lot of it kind of becomes too bogged down, too difficult, or the math doesn't add up and stuff. So by starting a little bit lower, that means that you can play a little bit getting into the sweet spot, so to speak, rather than just starting and then have a few adventures and then you're done. So yeah. So I guess it was an attempt in that way, and I like it. So I always try to use 0 level. I had several different versions. So yeah.
So Malden went by in chat here. Hopefully, so he uses the staff. There you go. Link to his Melcot.com Twin Cataclysms. He uses that actual magic item in the Greyhawk Adventures as the one that did it. So you want to play a sweet innocent kobold? Oh man. Well, hey, I have goblins and bugbears running around as NPCs, but I'm an old school traditionalist, so but that's okay. Everyone's game is different. There's nothing wrong with that. But for me,
and it's also what type of stories you want to tell and what type of game, because 0 level have to be very limited on combat and stuff. But I beefed and now I'm going to say, I'm going to post, I'm going to do shout outs. There will be my core rules the first kind of core rules and resolution mechanics article will come. I've written it, I've done the PDF, so I'm just going to post it. And that will tell a little bit about how I solve it. So I boosted the base hit points. Humans and mid-sized creatures have 10 bonus hit points they get from start simply by body size, so to speak. And small and tiny get less, so to speak, and large ones get more. And that's a way to boost, so you have a little bit more stamina. You can last longer as a 0 level.
Yeah, so there's a lot of ways. I've never done 0 level characters because I just think first level characters need help.
They are exactly in old school. They are weak enough, so to speak. So you don't need it. But in 5e and Pathfinder 1 and others, then the first level are kind of they going towards the superhero. So then you can dial it down a bit and increase the sweet spot. So yeah.
So, and in my special event games, like Dave from Guild Superiors in one and all, I start them 4th, 5th. I start the
Yeah.
characters because that's the sweet spot and the fun place to play, and I want them to
Oh yeah.
enjoy themselves. I don't
mhm,
want to
I can,
have to grind them up.
yeah, and I will definitely
risk
run a lot of short campaigns in the future where they're like 4th,
Yeah.
5th, because that's usually the most fun games, because then they still have that vulnerability, but they still have enough punch that they can tackle bigger things as well.
So, our boy there just said, Rob Alar himself. Nat just went to bed and I can't turn up the volume. Sorry, it's that time difference. It's 1:30 a.m. in Corsica.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
so
There you go. Yep.
yeah, it's all good. So, oh, so Chuck in chat and a direct message gave me 8 heads. So, all right. So Gary is coming on. So Gary Julian will be on. He just Discorded me. So that means Malden, you have to be on too. Thank you for the hype train. Appreciate it. So, yep, we'll have him. All right. Patrick, you still there? Thank you all. I feel bad for Patrick, kind of.
Yep.
So I'll tell you a quick story. This is a quick sidebar. So his character, his BattleTech character, basically failed his ejection and got all messed up and is like missing of all his teeth and all. Yes, and so, but his character is like functioning for the most part. Well, for the first, his character's got a girlfriend character that I made an NPC, but for the first time, it's gonna be PC. So Coco Bunny's coming on to play the character for 2 hours on Saturday morning. It'll be funny.
Oh,
Yes,
yep.
it'll be fun. Don't believe Gary about the Sea of Dust. He denies the new canon. He is a heretic. Gary is a heretic and a half sometimes, isn't he? Yeah. So he can get gold dentures. Well, remember, it's in the future. You can get a lot of things regenerated. You can even get Myrmer arms and legs and stuff. So, yeah. Yeah, so Mr. Kuntz can actually can link into the link I sent, but he can't hear us. He can watch us just talking.
Okay, well, there you
Yeah,
go.
there you go. But we'll go. We've had him on 3
Yep.
times, so here I'll send one more message to him. I will have you on Saturday morning very soon. All right, cool. There we go. Hey, good to see you. So, Anna,
Yep.
this place gets destroyed not in year 0, right? But well after year 0. Correct on the timeline? It wasn't like
Hang
it
on a
was.
second. I have
Yeah.
I have the time here in my timeline.
Yeah,
Let's
it
go
wasn't
in.
actually year 0. It gets destroyed. It gets destroyed because
I think
founding.
it goes
Oh, it's
even
negative 422. All right,
yeah,
Sam.
exactly.
I thought it was
It's
positive
20,
422.
421. I have it. So
Okay.
it's 1,020 years ago in my campaign now that is at 599. Or yeah.
Oh wow.
Yep.
I could have
But
sworn.
that might be different.
Wait. How much did you say?
1,020 years ago in my
Okay,
campaign.
it's about the same for me because I'm in 600
Yep.
whatever. So okay.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Yeah. I always think for some reason I want to put 1,000 on that and make it like 1,600. I'm thinking.
Yeah. So it's
crazy.
1,000 years ago because it's negative, and there's the year 0 involved too. That kind of screws it up a little bit. So yeah.
And what we're talking about, everyone who's fairly new to Greyhawk. Hold on one second. Did I close that? I probably closed it, dumbass. Talking to myself. Okay. So we're talking about this.
The twin cataclysms.
Yeah, here we go. This timeline right here. So, there it is. Evoke devastation, rain of colors, fire. Yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah. Okay, it is, and it minus 400.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's what we're talking about here, where these two, the Sea of Dust and the Dry Steppes, are both basically formed by this.
Yeah, the Baklunish and the Sul empires annihilated each other, so to speak, in 2 huge events.
But a couple things. One, the Bakluni already north, so it was half the Bekluni Empire for the most part, right?
Yeah, yes,
Yeah.
but we don't know because we hardly know anything about the western part. But I assume that the Bakluni land in the west got their fair share too. But
Oh,
it
help me find this
seems
place.
like the further north you go in the Bakluni area, the further away you were from
Right.
so meaning cities like Zif and countries like Ekbir and Tusmit, they were
Yeah.
almost untouched because they were so far away. So they managed to survive more or less intact.
Okay, you're booming. You're logging to Zoom. Give me no problem. It's probably remember you probably haven't updated it in a while, Gary. So,
Mm-hmm.
all right,
Yep.
we'll get, you're good. You're good. We're good. So, uh, with that, 400 years ago, and then it goes into the Over King's Crown of Roxas, and when the Great Kingdom basically is Greyhawk City becomes part of the Great Kingdom, that's year one in the
Yep.
common year.
And
But
it's
you
yeah.
see the
Sorry. Go.
Suluy's Empire, if you look here, is 5,000. Their time frame is
Mhm.
longer than the Elven calendar.
Exactly. That is a really interesting clue. Those
Y-
calendars tells us
Yeah,
something about the culture because when
right.
it usually something significant happens in your culture when you start a calendar or when you reset a calendar, so to speak.
So Langsketh, is that canon somewhere?
That's
Only
it.
got
That's interesting.
Zeef.
Yeah. Hmm.
Ekbir
That's
wasn't
interesting.
settled. I believe you. I just didn't. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Oh,
that
it's
that
LGG.
yeah.
So it was added third edition. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
LG. But to me, it makes
All right.
perfect sense because I want to have an ice age long before then, so to speak. So to me, it makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah, it makes really sense that Tusmid and Ekbjörn up there weren't particularly
Okay.
settled. So to me, that was one of my ideas on screwing with the climate and stuff early on in these
And we go on the
times.
Darlene map here, just so we can
Hmm.
real quick here,
Yeah.
and you can see. So you're saying Zeef was done, and then as you can see, the dry steps aren't shown much on here, but it is huge, and neither
Oh
does
yeah.
Sea of Dust.
Hmm.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and we know from the
Without any detail.
map in the glossography that you showed earlier on that shows way more of the west, so to speak. We know how far they reach out west, extend west. So yeah. Rex Fellies, yes, we have the origins came from this area, so to speak. So
Hmm.
so through all and down to dry steppes where the origins came, they came that way. If they were living there or if they just came past on their migration, we don't know, so to speak, but they came that way. That much we know.
It's just so.
And the Yorodi
Yeah.
is, yeah,
Yeah.
so the Allites or the people in Al are still of Oridian or at least partially Oridian descent.
Okay. 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 Good. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
I've been bouncing between both chats.
Yeah,
The
so it's
Empire Rise
interesting,
falls
meaning
over the
there's a
5,000 years.
lot
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
history to fill in and weave together. And we only have small fragments from here and there, and a lot of them might not make sense, so to speak. There's been a lot of little ideas written up and so on. So I'm going to write my own version of this, and that will suit my campaign. But so there are a lot of holes in this history, so to speak. Because we only have tiny little fragments and ideas listed in lore. So yeah.
No, it's a source. They mixed a lot,
Hmm.
especially. I mean, that's why I'm gonna really. Gary may agree with me on this. Kalanders are so proud and strong because they're Sul Iridian mix for the most part,
Exactly. They have a
right?
strong Sul. The
Yeah,
House of Suil and Rola and others are strong in Keelland. So
yeah,
Keelland has a lot of Sul influence. Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
it's a good mix there, as opposed to the further south you go and the further northeast you go, and we can always debate that why. Whoops, because the barbarians just how they get that's always for conjecture how this happened.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For me,
Oh,
is that these
you
Sul
getting in?
came from the west, so to speak. So they came north they came north from the old original Sul
Yeah.
Empire and didn't go through. So that's why they are from a different breed of Sul than the Sul of the Scarlet
Yeah.
Brotherhood, for instance, and stuff.
Oh, you need the login ID, Gary? It's been that long. Hold on.
Uh-oh.
I thought I
Yep.
gave it to you. I thought I gave it to you. Scroll up past the pictures you gave me. It's up on. It's up there. It's at 3:17 p.m. Gary, if you need it, the login. Just let me know. Yep. Oh yeah. Oh, you're giving me the thumbs up for the or whatever because of the.
Yep.
I love the Keelan's one of my favorite places, of course. All the Winchesters, all the Rothschilds, all come from Keelan. Gary has a heresy regarding the Rosine Sewell and the other Sewell that endured. Oh, the Aqua Sewell migration. So, yeah. Well, oh, you're saying how from the Sea of Dust. Well, we're going to talk about that with Gary coming on, because I love his map that he did. I'm assuming Anna did it, worked with Gary on it, right? The Soul
Oh yeah,
Kingdom.
we had some
Yeah,
ideas regarding
yeah,
the Sea of Dust, so to
yeah.
speak, that could solve some of the conundrums of the
Is
yeah, because
i-
there's some climate
is
conundrums and
is
stuff too.
Rob Kuntz is actually posted something in chat.
Yes.
Awesome!
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Wow, that's awesome, Rob.
Mm-hmm.
RJ RJK himself. Robert, if
Yep.
you can hear me, here, I'll see if he probably won't. Hit the, he's not going to hit the heart button, lower right a pick to follow. Let's see if we can, yep, there you go. All right, so
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah.
it does.
Yeah. But it will be on YouTube, so maybe you can catch it later if you can listen. Yep.
Tomorrow morning. That's cool. I mean, you know, it's very we get a legend like that just chatting away.
Oh,
You know,
yeah,
yeah,
that's fantastic.
absolutely. All right,
Yep.
so Gary will be on shortly, and hopefully Malden will be able to hop on too if
Mm-hmm.
he's able to,
Yep.
which would be great. But so
We can mention it. Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
please go for it. No, go ahead, Anna,
Okay, I
please.
was going to say we could talk pre-talk a little bit about the Sea of Dust, so we can get into how we solved it and the conundrum. Because the Sea of Dust is interesting. It's in the tropical desert zone, so to speak. So the natural climate down here should be desert. It should be hot desert, and also because it's basically a dust bowl. It's surrounded by mountains, would make it even hotter. But even before it, while it was a Sewell Empire, we needed to tweak it a bit in order to make it into a place where the Sewell will actually want to settle as an empire. So that's why we tweaked it, just changed it geographically during the invoked devastation, so to speak. So that way we tweaked it in order to solve it, so to make it into a suitable empire area for the Sewell to have settled early on. So we had to kind of adjust it adjust the terrain to fit the stories, which I think is the right way to go. If we know the stories, we need to fit the terrain and all the details, so they become a good canvas to explain and aid in the telling of the stories, so to speak. So the landscape should kind of be part of explaining why things happen the way they happen.
Yes, there you go, Rob Kuntz followed. There you go.
Oh,
There you
fantastic!
go.
Thank you. Yep.
That's awesome, Robert.
Mm-hmm.
So another good point from Sam, same with me. You just started wandering in Keeland. Well, when I was 11, 12, and I got the folio, I created a land war between the Sea Princes and Keeland, and all sorts of things. Because
Mm-hmm.
no one was there to stop us, because we were
No,
kids.
but you did it early. They did in the Living Greyhawk too. They fought over down in they went Westkeep was the Kioish expansion south. They fought the Sea Princes for years over Westkeep. So you're just ahead of your time by 30 years or 25 or 20 years or something. Yeah.
So, by the way, source, yeah, Rob Kuntz has been on on Gavin 3 times, and we
Mm-hmm.
do them Saturday morning because he lives in Corsica to accommodate him. And then Alan Growy, Anna, and I come on and we ask questions about stuff. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yep. Oh yeah, Another World. If you want this, Anna, can you link it again? Another World. This is the map from the great Anna B. Meyer. For
Oh, sure.
for the world of Greyhawk, so you want to get it, and it's up to date with a lot of great stuff on it. So the link's coming for you. Yeah. So yeah,
There we go. So you can go to my webpage. There is links at the top. And you can various stuff, and there is also an here you can go and use the, if you just want to use it in a browser, you can use the Easy Zoom version. That way you don't have to download anything. You can just watch it and view it in the browser.
Yeah, just search Kunch. It's all right, no problem, Gary.
Mhm.
So, yeah, Rob's been on 3 times. So, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, Another World. Thanks for coming on, Aaron. It is right. I appreciate it. You, our main connection is Tim at Timothy from Stronghold. That's great to see. We've been doing this. This
Yeah.
is our 245th.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, 30. We're on our channel. 245th Legends and Lore, and we're up to 297 cabins or 300 cabins coming up. So
Yep.
I'm trying
We
to
need
get
to
Ed on for
mention, I'm
300.
going to grab one other
please
thing
do.
here.
Yep. Gary Julian will be on shortly. So if you don't know who Gary Julian is, oh my God, my piles are growing. It's like they're multiplying. I can't find. Oh, here it is.
Yeah.
Here it is. So Gary,
While you're looking, I'm going to show this.
Yeah, please do. Yeah. Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Yes. When we talk about this, the Gord books, the Sea of Death. If you're interested in this area, you have to read this. It's the best telling of the Sea of Dust ever. It's Gary wrote this after he left TSR. So some of the names, it's called Sea of Death, but it's just renaming the Sea of Dust.
Right.
So and it's said it's Gord's adventures through, and it has a lot of all and a lot of paynims and a whole bunch of stuff. It's a road movie through this area. And it's a great book. If you it's a book that is still, I think this one was probably largely written while he was still at TSR and then published a year or two after, because it has a lot of the same feel as the first 2 books. This is like book number 3 in that series, and to me it feels very much like it was supposed to be a trilogy from the start, and then only the first 2 was published by TSR, and then he was ousted, so he had to rewrite some of this in order to stay clear of IP. So he renamed things and so on. Like Nero is called Infestix, for instance, and there's a bunch of other stuff that is
so
changed.
much fun.
Yeah, but it's a through and through a Greyhawk book written by the the creator of Greyhawk. So it's really cool, and it's Gord and Leda and a bunch of others going on, and Obmi and Keek and a bunch of others are in this book too, and they go through the Sea of Dust to get one of these Theor parts to stop Tharistun from taking over the world and stuff. So yeah,
very cool. I'm just gonna keep on looking for Gary. So
Yep.
Gary Julian's coming on Puffet's Measure. This is the Lion Scanth and Sam were talking about the Living Girl Gazetteer 3rd edition beginning 2000.
Exactly. That's another.
Right there. See, right next to Eric Mona's name.
Yep. And that you can get that on Drive Through RPG as a PDF. If I see if I can find it. Yeah.
Thank you, Touch. Thank you. So I can't do it without. So I tried to explain this, Touch, as humbly as I can. I cannot do it without the audience, because gift subs and prime subs don't count. You got to get a certain number of points based on tier 1, 2, and 3 paid subscriptions to get that 3 months running. It started in February, so I made the 60-40 split. No, I'm not that ultimate high. There's no one level above me, but still, it felt good to get something from them instead of something taken, you know. So who's this Gary character? I thought you were in the bathroom combing your hair. There you go.
So yeah, I posted the link to the Living Greyhawk Gazetteer, and if you want in my opinion, the best setting book ever written for Greyhawk, the most complete one is this one. Because it basically it's an update to the old ones that has basically all the information of the old ones and then a whole bunch of additional information. So, it was written in 2000, just prior to 3rd edition coming out.
So I know you're new, Aaron, Another World Tabletop, to this. The person talking to you is Robert Kuntz himself, who basically was lived with Gary Gygax, played and co-wrote stuff with Gary Gygax all throughout the 70s.
Was a co-DM of the original Greyhawk campaign.
And like I said, it's We get them all here. I mean, we had Keith
Yep.
Baker on. We had the producer
Mhm.
from the Blair Witch Project on Sunday night.
Yep.
You know, we're getting
We've
them.
had
Yeah.
so
Ed
many
Greenwood on all the
awesome.
time. Oh, it's okay. It's all good. Just
Yep.
throw it. No, it's cool. We're all cool. He's a cool guy. We're all cool here.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So there's Chuck. There's Controller Games. Chuck, you staying out of trouble?
Awesome.
You better be
Hello,
staying out
Chuck.
of trouble.
Yep. So, so that was a little bit about the products you
Yep.
can dig, and now you have scrolling past an AD&D adventure the day.
Oh, thanks, Patrick.
Yeah, there's a cup and talisman. Is one that I think you can get. It's not officially set here, but it's
Well, it is now.
very adapted to go in there, so to speak.
all
Day
right.
of Al-Akbar.
and
That's
it's right
the
there.
that's
Right.
the
It's by
one.
Alan
Yeah.
Hammock too.
Exactly, that's the one, and that one is very suited to go straight in here. So I added the stuff, this Sultanate of Arir, that's taken straight from that module. So yeah,
Thank you both. Thank you, Another World, and thank you, Patrick, for
yeah,
doing that for Robbler himself. So here's the location. I think I put it on my machine. Give me 1 second
yeah.
here. Let me go to it. I mean, it's on my machine, but in this folder. Yep. Okay.
Mhm.
So here's Day of Al-Akbar
Exactly, that's the
by
yeah.
Alan
Mhm.
Hammock.
Yep.
Alakbar, though, is a deity in the Living Grail Gazetteer, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
So is an official Greyhawk deity now.
It's from the box set of
Right.
'83. I think it's
Well-
there. I don't like the name because it ties in too much to real
So
world
Saint Cuthbert,
religion.
though.
But so exactly, yeah. But but there's Joe Block did a rewrite of the Backlunish pantheon. If you want to, you can go to Greyhawk Grognard and get a variant that I really like. But the adventure is a good one in that sense that it adds to the Greyhawk campaign. Greyhawk isn't
True.
mentioned, but it ties into Greyhawk, so it can definitely be placed there. So yeah.
Alcor, you renamed him.
Yeah.
There,
Mhm.
Will. That's good to hear.
Yep.
Will, I need to reach out to you. Get with me on Discord at some point. I got the Game with Bones on the
Yep.
25th. It's at 5 Saturday.
Exactly, and then Sam,
get with
that's
you.
a good idea.
All right.
Drop Saint from Cuthbert and just call him Cuthbert, and you're good. Yeah.
I don't think Tim's going to be able to make it. All right. So this Alan Hammock actually talked about this when he was on. Yeah. Well, thanks, Will.
Okay. Yep.
About this, and
Mhm.
so from this, I believe it's in reverse. So when this was done, and look, there's crypt things in here. There's all sorts of cool Fiend Folio monsters in here. Fiend Folio and Monster
Ah,
Manual 2
yeah.
monsters in here because you know
Mhm.
this is during that era. When was this made? Like 87? I'm
Pop-
guessing
yeah.
right now. Oh,
Yeah.
it's off by a year, 86.
Yep.
So I was already out of high school. But
Mhm.
this
It was a really well produced adventure for being that
Yep.
era. It was a lot of cool maps and stuff in it. So yeah.
Yeah, but with that, this area here was actually created was actually put on the map to satisfy this adventure, correct?
Exactly. I added Sultanate of Arir from that module and fitted it in there because I felt it really fit the general area. It was an empty part of the map, so I placed it there, and it fits fairly well with the Gorge stories and stuff from Sea of Dust, where a lot of the other names that are further south and in the Dry Steppes are from this book.
Right.
Yeah, so a lot of them, the lands of Mulvar and tribal lands of Shangar and so on, the Atimal and stuff. They a lot of them are from here. Gord is down there. He's fighting, befriending, interacting with a lot of this, and there are some fun stories and stuff in this. So
I had
it's
to
a
bring
good.
Discord on my main machine. I'm risking it, so sorry if it
Uh-oh.
crashes.
Yeah.
I'm pulling out an image that Gary did for this.
Yeah.
Save. All right, no crash yet.
Oh, good. Yep.
Yeah. Now it's
You can
close
use
Here he
Video
comes.
Ninja or something. Oh, good.
Awesome.
Yeah. Took a while to update stuff.
Well, yeah. All right.
There we go. Welcome.
Hey.
Testing.
Yeah, we
Yes,
can hear you,
it
dude.
works.
That's great.
Yeah,
All
we can hear
right.
you.
It's been a while, man. Yeah, I know you like
Yeah.
this.
Oh my God, I got to mute my Twitch. Hold on.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Just mute the Twitch.
Yep.
Or mute your PC. Yep. So
Yep.
Perfect.
Sounds great. Okay.
Good.
it's good to see you back on, Gary. Thanks
Yeah.
for coming on.
Sure. Dennis is joining us.
Hopefully, we'll see.
He's
Yeah.
trying. He's trying.
Yep.
He's putting stuff in chat already. He's trying. Malden is making the attempt. And then, Rob Kuntz is actually in chat, which is amazing, even though he can't
Yep.
hear. So,
Some technical issues.
but we're
to
getting
overcome,
there. I
but
mean, we've had Rob on the 3 Gabbins. I got some Saturday mornings coming up, the 18th or the 25th. I can fit him in to a talk, so we can update.
Rob has been sharing a ton of lore on Greyhawk this week, so.
All right, let me link it.
Now we need to.
There's kind of our Discord for everyone. If you want to go check out Rob Kuntz's talk. Hey, Rob Phantom, and here is the Greyhawk events. Because remember, Virtual Greyhawk Con is around the corner at the beginning of October. Sign up start in June, the end of June for putting in events. So there you go for that for Virtual Greyhawk Con 5. Yep. So yeah, Gary's here. So thanks for coming on. I know this. I know you have a lot of great theories about this area, which is awesome. And I know there's a lot of chat going on. So is it? I'll start this out with a zinger. Is it true that you and Sam don't see eye to eye on this?
Wow, shocking. I mean, nobody should see eye to eye on any of this because it's all speculation.
Exactly.
True, which is fun.
Yeah, and that is the fun, is debating it and persuading other people about different ideas. We only got a little kernel of information, and
oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, unfortunately, when we still had Len with us, we didn't really dig a lot deeper into who created what. And,
Lara, whatever.
Yeah.
We never even talked to him about that much, you know? So
yeah, like who came up with the word Soul?
Yeah.
We don't even know the answer to that question. So,
well, I like the way you shared your theories in chat with me beforehand. Did you think it's Moorcock, right?
I think Gary was very influenced by Moorcock in creating the Soul. Jason Zavoda also thought so, and he shared a lot of ideas and artwork with me. He thought that Moorcock's Melnibonians definitely fit the Soul Imperium as a potential influence. So, if people have, I sent Jay a link to some artwork on a website that could serve as inspiration, I guess, for.
And I think I already have that I put that and I bookmarked it. So here we go. So,
but I just want to interject. I also heard Anna speaking earlier about the Sea of Dust book.
Yeah.
And speaking of Jason Zavoda, we have him recorded reading the entire book for you.
Yep.
With his commentary. So you go to Cannon Fire, you look for Sea of Dust in Jason's book section. He is full of knowledge about what the implications of various incidents in the book are and the characters. So that might be the best way to tackle it, because he does read it word for word also, but he pauses to give his impressions.
Yeah, exactly. There's a discussion about every time they get to a fact. It's fantastic. Well, hopefully we can get a transcript of all that. Will be fabulous to be able to search through it faster.
I was going to say, is there software we could dump a MP3 file into?
That will be a job for AI. That I think will be really good. That can analyze the audio and just make a transcript. That they're tools for that now. So hopefully we can find a way to get a transcript.
Yeah, if anyone in chat has ideas, send them along. I'll give you the files. Maybe you could.
Yeah, the files are downloadable, so you can download them on Cannon Fire and test it out if you have a tool that might work. Yeah.
There was a level on Castle Greyhawk where you could go to Melnibone, right? Yeah, that was. But that
I've heard about that word mentioned. Yeah,
but that was the Castle Greyhawk one that no one likes, right? Yeah. So
was it? Oh, was it?
No. We're talking about the Mar Castle.
Oh, gotcha.
No, the original. Rob says he created it. That's awesome. So Rob, keep the chat going so Rob can keep up with this discussion, please. That's good.
Sure.
So you can see,
oh my God, Rob probably has so much lore to share about all this.
Yeah. So what Gary's idea was in the future is we're going to go back in time and do a pre-devastation Bakluni Soul theoretical discussion on what everyone thought, like the economy, about the realms, all that. We'll do that, and we'll bring on Gary, Sam, Rob, if we can get them on. Whoever you think should be on for that discussion would be great.
Les is a great expert of ancient land too, and
great.
Yeah,
we'll have Les on too. So, Yeah, that would be awesome. So Gary, think about like it's only like the last 5 years. Were you guys talking about this back in the AOL days about the Sea of Dust and all, or really not as
Are
much?
you kidding? Of course we
Yeah,
were.
okay.
We were talking about as much as anything else because it was such a interesting place, a place to speculate about. Even something like the twin cataclysms. I invented that term in that time back in the early 90s. So I kept talking about it so much that people adopted it and it became the default term for the
oh, nice.
The two devastations. So
yeah.
Did not so what stands out like this is gonna be a tough question maybe. What stands out between then and now that you think like, wow, I got a handle on it? Something like a little tidbit of lore or a little like, wow, this makes sense. I'll say this: we know that the Lorera were created by Len, right? So Leonard.
Do we know that?
I thought that was consensus. No, I think Len said he created them. The Backlunish Soul switch. What does that mean, Sam? You know about that too, because it's still all.
So he's referring to a particular heresy that I was discussing
okay.
a few years ago. The idea that because of their appearance, it would have made more sense if Gary had put the Sul in the north, where the Backlunish Empire was, and the Backlunish in the south, where the Sul were, and it would help explain a little bit more of the migration map. It would make a little more sense, I guess you would say. But as Anna and I have discussed in the past, there's always a solution if you want one. So you don't have to make a radical change to the setting to come up with a solution.
Well, you can use time.
Exactly.
Use time, meaning we discussed it, and I'm going to work it in that switch happened 3,000 years ago, so to speak. So they originally, the Sul was far up north several thousand years ago, and then had to move south when climate change and all of that. And that's when they started fighting, and it became enemies with the Bacluni, because then they were fighting over the same area, and then they ended up far south, and that was the Sul Empire that we know now, so to speak. The original Sul Empire is all that is forgotten by now. That was my way of circumventing that thing.
Yeah, I overheard you guys talking. I overheard you guys talking about the calendars, and there's no reason to assume that things were always like they are now, right? That's a straight arrow back to the past. It's possible that the Sul originated on that northern continent, and migrated down, and then the Backlunish migrated somewhere from the west, and then we get the present state, right? I like to think that maybe what we call this age of glory, the time when these two empires were at their heights, was only maybe the last 1,000 years of that era. So, and that, that's what Anna and I were talking about when we decided, maybe what would this place look like?
Yeah, that's what I'm going to show in a second.
And it's also, if you start playing around with ideas back in history, that also makes it possible to weave in the Origians in this story too. And because they also need to have a room here, because they came from somewhere too. So they need to be weaved into the early story as well.
I mean, 100 years is a long time. 1,000 years is a very long time.
Exactly. And here we have several thousand years to play with. So,
And it's like, when you look at this, I guess it's just like real history. Like the Greyhawk history is a speck of a dot on a sentence. You know what I mean? If you put human history in, if you put it in a minute, right? It's what, 6 seconds?
Well, the human history in the world is about 12,000 years old, so to speak. Since we had,
in a year, 6 seconds.
So it's about 12,000 years of civilization history, since we have the first remnants of buildings and stuff like that. It's about 12,000 years old.
So, okay, Gary.
Yeah. So just because they have these calendars where some of them appear to be shorter than others, we don't know what that event was that created that calendar. It's possible that Flan also had 4,000 years before their calendar started, maybe 10,000 years, but that's all pure speculation, right? So for your own campaign, you just have to decide what was that event.
Exactly. You have to kind of work out how it worked for you, how you want it to work, so to speak. So,
so Jay, zoom that up a little bit again. Put it on the.
Sure.
And we got a great question from Rex Fellis, Cat Lord. So answer is coming. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you have it up? Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So for the Iridians, when we were writing Living Greyhawk Gazetteer, Eric and I were discussing what might be the start of that date, and we decided it was the start of their Great Migration. Mm-hmm. So they actually started migrating before the wars concluded.
Yeah.
And from somewhere in the far west, we don't have to give too much detail about that, but just suffice to say, they were being pressured by some events in the far west, maybe humanoids, maybe something more sinister, and so they decided to start migrating. So when you begin those calendars, theirs is only 160 years old, but they had a much more interesting history before that. We just don't have a data point for it. And then you go with the Flan. The Flan, it could have been the fall of the Isles of Woe, something Mr. Kuntz here could tell us a lot about, because his name is commemorated in the Zunk, the guy who was playing with the another favorite of Dennis's.
Yes, another
Codex.
anagram for Kuntz. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And then we have, maybe so awesome. The elves. Eric and I speculated their calendar may date to their arrival in the Flannis from some other place.
It's shocking that the Sewell calendar is longer than the Elven calendar.
But that doesn't mean anything necessarily, right?
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
So the Sewell 5,000 years ago may have been a hunter-gathering society.
Yeah.
Or
even a strong empire, so to speak. It's like, So please, go ahead.
And it wouldn't even be unusual for a society to pick a date that was mythic and really wasn't based
exactly.
on
They might have just constructed the calendar and said that something happened 5,000 years ago, so let's start it there. Just it's a propaganda trick to make
and could that have been the end of an ice age on Earth?
That's where I have it. I have it that you have an ice age that was a few thousand years that kind of came in and caused a lot of the upheaval that led to the Becluni-Sewell wars, the migrations and stuff like that. And also during the ice age, the Flan had the Flanese basically to themselves with the demi-humans, because the lands in the west were isolated. They couldn't
Curtis, I believe so.
they couldn't come from the west, so to speak. So the Iridians were and the Becluni and the Sewell were all doing things further west, so to speak, and south. And the Olmans and the Flan had the Flanese to themselves, and then it warmed up, and that was a new wave of conflict between the Sewell and the Becluni, and then that opens up for migration from the west. So that kind of happened.
I mean, those islands we see in the south, the Spindrifts, the Lendor Isle, all those things, they might not have been islands.
Exactly, because when you have because if you had an ice age on Earth where you have more of landlocked, that meant that the ocean levels were dropped more than on Earth during an ice age. So that means that these Lendor Isles and others were hills, and the Flanese was much bigger in the southeast, and that might have been the where the Flan and the Olmans were the ones interacting back.
Or they're in fact they may be the same people, Anna.
Exactly.
Only got
Originally,
separated by culture, and they have almost the same phenotypes, the same skin color, but just separated by new culture.
Yeah, exactly. And the two were separated even earlier on back in history.
I hate bringing it to real world. What is the oldest calendar on Earth? Is it the Mayan calendar, or is it?
No, I know that the Americas are younger. The oldest is probably found in the Middle East. You might have some of the people of the Middle East are probably the oldest. The calendars.
Hebrew calendar is pretty old.
Exactly. The ones that are probably found in the Middle East or somewhere around there.
There's no calendar for what do you call it? The ones that were in the Tigris Euphrates.
Yeah,
Babylonians didn't have a calendar, right?
We don't know. They probably had it. Some of them, they're Sumerian, Babylonians, and others. And then we have things like the Zarathustrans and others in former Persia and stuff. They're also very old. So I don't know which one is the oldest.
Well, remember, Jay, it's one thing to have a calendar. It's another thing to keep it continuous.
Well, that's the question I'm asking here. Exactly. We always forget, like in our own human history,
Yeah.
You know, the calendars, the
But
BC
we
ones are
know
done
that,
after the fact,
yeah,
right? You know,
but we know
so
that
yeah.
humans have lived in Africa and the Middle East longer than anywhere else
Well,
on
they say
Earth. So,
Göbekli Tepe is now 12,000 years old, right? That's what they're saying now.
yeah.
So
Exactly. And
So
those are the oldest civilization signs we have of buildings and graves and things that tend to look like civilization in a bit.
We're always discovering that the people of the past are more amazing than we ever thought.
Exactly.
So,
Smarter and more skilled and all that. So yeah. So meaning in a fantasy world, we can easily extend it past 10,000 years in history. And in a fantasy world, we might have had even longer if you want to. You can extend it far back if you want to. Yeah.
Yeah, Jay. So there might be mythic time where you have, you know, the Wind Dukes against the Queen of Chaos and and the Drow fighting the elves for dominance and getting shoved into the Underdark.
Because a lot of that is amorphous when it happens, right? It gets talked about, but no one knows. Hey, Phoenix, no one knows exactly when that happens in Greyhawk.
Exactly. We just have more.
Which I think is good.
Exactly. You can come up with cool stuff.
Yeah.
That's an element of design we were just talking about with Rob yesterday, which is, you know, when you're talking about the far past, you don't want to go too far into detail. I mean, I think Gary was really good about just giving us enough to go on, but not trying to settle every question or set every date. And in some ways, you know, the Orth Journal timeline, the first one in the first issue, is something that's been controversial in fandom for a while because it did try to give a lot of hard dates for what happened in the Sol Imperium, you know, the area we're talking about tonight. And I feel like that almost takes some of the bloom off of it. You know, it just seems a little less mysterious.
Right, the allure and charm of it. Like,
and the cool thing is you can invent your own myths and legends, and then you can also invent your own truth if you want to, and as needed, so to speak, in order to come up with old forgotten cities and buried treasure and so on and so forth. So you can kind of create the myths and legends and so on that you need for your campaign. And there is plenty of cool little rumors, and I agree, Gary, that Gary Gygax, he did the right thing by putting little hints and at cool stuff, and then don't explain it.
So
yeah, as Norker is commenting on in chat,
I'm going to show it.
the Greyhawk and the ancient history of our head canon was always better than the real thing, right? We were reading the folio and the gold box, and we thought, oh my God, we're getting a glimpse of something so amazing.
Yep.
When in fact, the glimpse was all we were going to get.
Right. No, Gary, it's like that with everything. It's like that with Vecna. It's like that with the Hateful Words. It's like that with even without Greyhawk Mike's. The Battle of Emerald Meadows is a couple lines, right?
Yeah,
you know
definitely.
It's like it's all amorphous.
But it's so cool because you can
in our
build
heads,
upon it.
In our heads, it's the Battle of Helm's Deep, you know.
Right, exactly.
From Tolkien. So
But it's cool. Sorry, go on.
I was gonna say, if an author hits the right beats, he evokes the response he wants from the reader. You know, he gives you a suggestion of what you should fill your head with. And that often is enough to get your imagination going and writing and creating. So I think they did a great job with it.
Aaron, another world. Vecna is the number one. The retconning is overdone. I mean,
to some degree, but I also
I'm talking about
it
in 5e. I'm not talking about what we did. I'm talking about even beyond that.
But it's kind of he's going out in the multiverse, so that's good. But for me, it's interesting. I put an ice age just prior to migration because causing havoc and giving the Flan a reason to have their kind of heyday in the Flan. But before the ice age, I have a warmer period. 5,000-6,000 years ago, then and onwards back when the oceans were higher and it was warm up north, and that's where I placed the original Sol Empire, far up in the north, that created, and that will tie into the Blackmore and stuff like that, because then I can say that they used to where the original Sol Empire was far up in the north and west. And created, and that's where we have some of these leftover, like Egg of Coot and a whole bunch of stuff that comes from an old Sol distant past, so to speak, that is even forgotten by now. And that's where the Thilondrian Peninsula, the barbarians in the east, they are the leftover, because when the Ice Age came, they fled east rather than fled south. So you had a Sol split long ago, so to speak. That's my idea. Yeah.
That could be a soul culture that had no influence from the Imperium.
Exactly. The second Imperium, the Sea of Dust Imperium, the Soul nomads, the Soul, the cold, the Frusty and the Crucian, they were not involved in that part, so to speak. Yeah.
And I know Carlos is going to do something with Fireland that may shed some light on some theories for that.
And it was
that's
Carlos
all completed too.
Yeah, and it was Carlos' Fireland stories, or his idea when he presented the idea, that gave me the inspiration to go on my journey to explain why the heck they ended up in the Fireland in the first place. So yeah.
Nice. All right. So yeah, Anna, it's all. The great thing about Greyhawk is you can conjecture and you can create on your own, and no one's going to yell at you for it.
Exactly. You can rhyme and steal and build what others have done. You build on top of it. So
yeah, if your stuff is good, it's going to get stolen. So
yeah,
that's right.
Yep.
Or it's going to get published.
Yes.
I have to say that now. All right, so I'm going to cast a magic spell. Ready? La 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 la. We're going to go back in time a couple thousand years.
Okay. There you go. Yep. That was me and Gary here.
All right.
Spawning. Yep.
So. Give us some theorems here, as we look at this.
If you guys have looked at really closely at Anna's map of the Soul Imperium, right? The Sea of Dust, which was the former Soul Imperium, you could see that it's essentially like a bowl. I mean, it's full of dust, and the cities are buried, and we don't really know what the topography looked like. So one speculation we had, and we also know that the Soul really had a lot of sea gods, an unusual number of sea gods, for a culture that would have been trapped inside a landlocked Imperium. So,
and it's also where, if this was a kind of what it is now today, a submerged subdued area that is low in the middle of a desert area, it will be a dry dust bowl no matter what, so to speak.
Exactly.
So we needed to change it into making it a habitable place where you can actually have an empire. So we said that before the cataclysms, this was a high plateau that was more like Mexico or something, that was much
Utah.
higher up, which means that it's cooler and has more humidity and stuff like that. Instead of being this dry, surrounded by mountains on all sides, lowlands, it was actually a high plateau that was much more better
Earth, not nature. Earth.
Exactly. So that was part of the design thinking behind.
So the idea behind this is thinking that, back then, the Soul, obviously with their very powerful magic towards the end of their Imperium, they could have channeled rivers to any effect they wanted to. They could have controlled their climate.
Yeah.
So perhaps they created for themselves something of a paradise in the middle of what would become the Sea of Dust, with freshwater lakes.
Exactly. They dammed up and you get a lot of water in the spring, even if it's dry air. Most of it is like arid plains. It's still, there is a lot of tall mountains, so it would be like Southern California or somewhere similar, or the Tibetan plateau. When you get snow melt in spring and summer, a lot of that water comes melting, and you can actually, if you build dams and hydro things, you can actually collect it and build lakes and stuff.
Yeah, in response to a comment there, yes, it's still missing forests. It's still missing a lot of details for the geography. This is really only focusing
it was
the
more like a
system.
Concept idea. We just took the basics.
Well, isn't it like, I hate to use the Great Salt Lake as a parallel to it, but isn't that high elevation? Yes.
Yeah,
it's in a flat area. Okay.
Yep. So there you have one example. Mexico is another one. Parts of Central Asia has terrain that is similar. But
they don't have waterways though, because the Caspian's not that. You're talking about Mongolia. There's very little.
Oh, right? Yeah, east of the Karakum and the Himalayas and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, these lakes may only be a few hundred feet deep, but that's plenty enough for ocean going vessels to ply these waters and go. Could you imagine this area being surrounded by a few dozen cities along all these coastlines? I mean, and having the Soul, their various houses communicate with each other by sailing back and forth and trading. And I note the capital there is very central. It's exactly where Anna has it on her map, but I just kind of peeled it away so that it was now a port.
Oh, exactly,
And
because you have the connection between the two, and we just looked at the geography and realized if you raised it up by 100 feet deep waters, that's how they could have played out. It will be 3 lakes or like 4
and
lakes.
guys who are not talented at artwork and mapping like me, I literally use flood fill.
Yeah.
So you have flood fill to create water, but
Right.
because Anna's map does suggest topography.
Yep.
You know, she has darker areas and lighter areas and areas that are filled with dust. So you could imagine that, you know, this. Now, I guess that's something we could get back to is, you know, then what became of it. But the idea here is that they did have a major river draining these lakes.
Right.
Exactly, south. Yeah.
And they had access to the sea.
Because you can see it right on the other map, right? You can
Yeah,
just see it.
and there is probably originally, my idea was that originally the southern mountains were created by volcanic eruptions and stuff during the cataclysms. So before then it was like a high plateau that had more of an escarpment or something, and then these mountains sealed the deal, so to speak, and then the central lands collapsed and you got the situation with the Sea of Dust. But before then it was a high plateau open to the south, so there were like rivers draining to the south, and what the Seoul Empire did was they dammed it up, kept most of the water on top of the mesa, so to speak, or the high plateau, and created the lakes, and only let some of it run out into the ocean at the south. So
I'm going to ask another question, Anna. You have volcanism down here, right?
Yeah.
Couldn't this be like India?
We're not sure. We're not sure, Jay, if those volcanoes blew until.
Yeah, exactly. That was that. I want to have it as before the twin cataclysms. That was just an extension of the crystal mists. Yeah, because there are stories about elves and others living in those mountains before they became the hell furnaces and stuff.
Right.
So and that probably added, because then they were really tall mountains. That meant that they caught a lot of air and like humidity, and there was snow building up in the summer that melted in spring, or in winter they built up snow and then it melted in the spring and summer, added to what the Seoul had a good water source, so to speak.
Because this reminds me of two things. This reminds me of the Southern Alps. Or India hitting the the Indian plate hitting the
and they can also open for, if it was open to the south, they can open for a summer monsoon too.
Right. Okay.
So you can have like so the landscape, we didn't change as much, but I wanted to change the map even more before the cataclysms, so to speak. But this was a first attempt.
So Rex Felix, I would say that if the Sea of Dust, if the dust filled the Seoul Basin, that river would have dried up, so there would be no coastal features anymore.
The actual coast, though, wasn't even on the map.
So that's right. Yeah. We didn't see it. We actually saw it on the 1983 box set page 18 glossography map, which is just a little black and white map with the coastline. But we didn't see it on Darlene's map. No,
exactly.
So no evidence exists.
Yeah.
And this is just one way of explaining it. I'm not saying we don't have much support in lore for this. This is just a way of making the landscape support the lore we have, so to speak. That's the way I want to see it.
So Rob, you're going to understand this, that he's got to be listening. Rob, are you listening now? Because we're not typing that in, so you got to be listening, which is good to see.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, we go back to the fire wand, Jay, open with it, they get burned away to water. Yeah, that's the theory on that Langscan. Also, I always found it weird that the area north, the Crystal Mist volcanoes are dormant. This whole chain should should all have volcanic activity, shouldn't it?
I mean, it looks more like two continents colliding and uplifting mountains. It doesn't look like volcanic mountains.
Exactly. Meaning not. Oh, sorry. Go on.
But I was going to say, it's an artificial thing, right? Because the gods of the Baklunish punish the Seoul by creating these volcanoes and pouring all the ash on their Imperium. So we don't need it to be natural.
Okay.
Exactly. And meaning there are plenty of mountain ranges in the world that doesn't have volcanoes in them, meaning the Alps is an example, and the Himalayas don't have many volcanoes in them, and they're growing, and they're and there are parts of it like the Andes or the Rocky Mountains or the mountains of North America. Large stretches of them have no volcanoes. Other stretches have either old volcanoes or they have still active ones.
Opening Discord, risking it all. So I got a couple other Gary ones we're going to share.
Oh, I was going to throw you one more too.
Yeah, all right, go for it now. If you can put it in there now, that would be great.
Soreptis has Sorus have a good question too that we need to come back to. Yeah.
All right, awesome. Yeah, I'm trying to get these in because I remember.
What happened to the water is, my idea is that the twin cataclysm lowered the land. So that plateau sunk down and became a submerged area like Sea of Dust or the Death Valley or sorry, the valley around the Dead Sea or the Death Valley here in California. And when it's in those latitudes and it's low, then the water evaporates really quickly because it's surrounded by mountains. So no new water is brought, hardly no new water is brought in. The temperatures are sky high and it becomes dry as a dust.
Don't you have that new lake though that hasn't been there for 100 years now, reformed?
Exactly, that's what happened. So what happened? Yes.
So I guess we should talk about the actual progress of events in those days.
Yep.
And this came up in chat last week or a couple of weeks ago.
I got some good maps here. Give me 1 second to save them and make sure I don't crash things, and then exit out from everything so that I don't have too many resources open.
So if you can, show the one that's really colorful with the different states on it.
Yeah, is that the one with all the blues and yellow and
yes,
I got it. Give me 1 second here. Let me close this out on one. Multitasking, everyone. Multitasking.
Orchid, that's
like
awesome.
usual. Here we go. Here we go. This one. All right, got it.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Yep.
So one thing I like to do is make these infographics that kind of explain
cool. Yeah.
What I think was going on in the past, just quick and dirty. So if you look at this map, let's say this is the map 10 years before the twin cataclysms.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, actually maybe 100 years because the Iridians are still in the west. So what you have is the dark blue representing the actual Bakunish Empire, the heartlands of their empire.
Right, and then you have areas that they're exploring or whatever.
Yeah, so where your mouse is, just a little bit below where your mouse was, that was their capital.
Right.
And if Ann and I were to speculate about the geography there, we'd probably say that there was probably a big lake there too, fed by various rivers coming from various directions. So this would have been an amazing place to have a capital.
It was like I think it was an ice age back then. This was temperate, like prairie, tundra, and stuff like that back in the day.
And of course the Bakunish were very powerful in their magic. They controlled the elements. They dealt with genies. They could have done amazing
they could have
things.
made it a good place to live. Yep.
Absolutely.
Gary's probably placed these on Cannon Fire in discussion. What I will do after the show is I'll just throw them right in the Cannon Fire chat. Okay, I'll just throw all the ones that we're going to show here all in. I can put 4 at a time, and I'll just put them all in. Okay.
Post them on Cannon Fire. Yep.
And so the dark red probably represents the Sul Imperium, the heartland of it. The actual Sea of Dust. That is where the Sul basically terraformed their way to a paradise and ruled. They were probably the ones to rise first, and then could not suffer a rival close by. And so the wars were inevitable between these two empires. And then that sort of salmon color to the south is kind of what I call the Sul dominated areas. They are satrapies, countries that are, they may be humanoids, maybe other human cultures, but they were Sul controlled, but were not punished the way the Imperium was because they were not directly responsible.
And then the Green's Flan, because
so the green, there are a few elements up there. Yellow is where I'm suggesting that the Iridians started from.
Right.
The purplish area that extends from the crystal mist to the Nerdiv.
Demi-huns.
Vecna, that's Vecna's empire.
Oh, that's Vecna's. Okay, it's Vecna's.
The empire, the empire of the Spidered Throne, with its center in the Rushmores.
Yeah.
And then the little
why do you have 2 outliers to the Vecna Empire? One in the north and one in the east?
Anna. It's unfortunate. I use pink for the Elven Kingdom.
Oh, gotcha. So
they look a little too similar.
Okay, gotcha.
But the Selene, Vesvi, Summer Stars, and the Adri, and the Celadon. Those were like the 4 major kingdoms of the elves.
Okay, gotcha.
Before the migrations. And then the green is the Flan that Carl Sargent talked to us a lot about, the ones who were able to challenge the elves. They went to this place, the Cauldron of Night and the Isle of Lost Souls, and built so many nasty things.
Yeah.
So that's that culture. And of course, the white areas have other cultures too. This just wasn't detailed in this.
Yeah. And those little orange red thingies in Yeomanry and down by they were the first Sul incursions into the Flanese area, so to speak.
So if Dennis was here, that's where Melkot is.
Yes.
Melkotia.
The first settlements with Sul roots, so to speak, or Sul influence.
Now, were these Sul who, for economic or political reasons, wanted to escape the Imperium? Maybe.
Maybe they were just exploring for the fun of it or whatever.
Maybe they're mining. They're other kinds of
or they just wanted to see what was on the other side of the mountains or something.
Absolutely.
So Rexalis asked the question about so the Iridians are just going right through Backlunish lands when they're migrating east, and they're probably warring with them, correct? Or
no,
they're
apparently not.
Okay.
So what's interesting about the Iridians is they came in waves, right? Because the Iridians are not one single people. In some ways, the word is almost a misnomer, because what they really are is the first tribe, the Aerdi, the second tribe, the Neron, the Ferrandi, the Volandi, the Kioish. They all came in waves, and this journey took them a couple of centuries before they actually went through the Falls Gap and into the Flannis. And why do we know that? Because the common tongue itself is a melange of Iridian and Backlunish.
Iridian, Backlunish, not Sul.
So they had something of a rapport. They were able to trade with each other. Perhaps the Backlunish tolerated them in these northern lighter blue lands to pass through.
Yeah.
Some of the Iridians were employed as mercenaries against the Sul. Now, that just actually came up today in chat. I mean, don't you think that if you had this kind of history, if you were writing a history of the Flannis 500 years later or 1,000 years later, you would have a bias against the Sul, because your people naturally had an enmity towards the Sul as you were crossing through. And I think there is an element of that in history. And even to today, the Backlunish, the Great Kingdom, when it reached Perrin Land and Bissell, it basically stopped growing at that point, because it was already up against the Backlunish lands. And I think at that point they basically just were trading with each other. It wasn't a hostile communication. So that dark blue area becomes our barren land.
No, Rexalis, I don't think they were horse nomads like Scythians. I don't think so.
I think they were kind of horse nomads.
Oh, okay.
I always got the sense too that the Iridians were the ones that knew horses from long ago, so to speak. I just got that sense. Yeah.
Sam and I think Norca talked about the idea that it's possible maybe the horse wasn't even in the Flannis.
Exactly. They came with that's another interesting thing, is that the Flan back in the day didn't have horses, or the elves that came with the Iridians. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Very cool.
And there was one question I wanted to ask. Now I've lost track, Gary. That I wanted to ask you. I'll come back to it.
By the way, it's also hard to keep up with the chat. So
chat's burning here. The chat is burning away. All right, let's go to so Gary. You had 2 other ones here. Let me see if I can locate them. This one here.
Okay. Yeah. So this one I just created a little while ago.
Okay.
So the speculation of where the attack was. So I overheard you guys in my car. I wasn't sure. Is everyone clear that the Sul struck first?
Yes, that's my take on it. That the Sul.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely in the.
And the Backlunish returned fire afterwards. The Sul probably thought that their magic should do the job. Like first strike in a nuclear, you don't expect the enemy to strike back, so to speak.
Exactly, and I think, and this is pure speculation, I think the Sul were losing the war on the ground. I think the reason they went to this they went this desperate move because the Baklunish were more innovative. They had allies in the Iridians. They had these monks, which were like amazing fighters who were immune to magic because their power didn't derive. They derived from psionics.
And they were probably much more of a mobile war fighting force in that sense, so to speak. The mobile warfare over large areas were probably much more their thing than Sul was much more urban and in that sense a stuck society.
Yeah, Baklunish were a younger civilization. They had more esprit de corps. They were willing to fight. Whereas I think the Sul relied a little bit more on forced labor, forced fighting.
Yeah,
they also did
institutionalized and tough to change things. Yeah,
and a lot of the evidence suggests, Anna, that they were doing experimentation, creating monster races to help them to fight for them, and some of those escaped and become monsters around the setting.
Yeah.
So I think they were losing the war, and so they decided to invoke this devastation on the Baklunish, and they target, they center the attack on the
that
capital.
was my question. The Baklunish, their biggest city, was that Karnak? Was that their capital, so to speak? Was that Karnak? That was going to be. Do we know that, or was there another capital?
I don't know if we know the official name. We know the lake is called Udrukenkar.
Yeah, exactly.
We know that the city within it held the mega artifact.
The Tuvac Baragu.
Yes.
And then now there is the city of Karnak, Karnush, I think it's called in the Book of Sea of Dust. And
so that might be a successor state or some kind of new settlement.
Maybe the city was called Tuvac Baragu or something. But do we know that was the capital city was there, or is that
I think that's strongly suggested, at least once you get in the lore from Jim Ward's book.
Yeah. And also since that seems to be the center of the strike, the Sul probably wanted to strike where the heart of Baklunidom, so to speak.
Exactly. The idea being to knock them out completely, and then the war is over.
Yeah.
But I speculate in my campaign that because figures like Sclerotin, one of the mages of power, didn't lend his voice to the spell was incomplete. So the Baklunish were not completely destroyed. Their mage priests survived.
Yeah.
And perhaps even Tuvac Baragu itself was a shield against being destroyed.
Yeah, because that thing existed afterwards. I mean, it was still functional afterwards because it's used in later adventures.
Right. So they cry out to their gods for justice. So they still had their voices. I don't think they actually cast the Reign of Colorless Fire as a spell. So it wasn't tit for tat. Well, I think what they did is they cried to their gods for justice, and the Baklunish gods answer. And one of the gods, which Gygax talks about in OJ 11 or 12, I think, he suggests that one of the gods basically sacrifices himself in order to do this job. He goes from a greater god to a demigod or a quasi-deity because he's been punished too.
Yeah.
By opening, the gates to the plane of ash and dumping all this ash on.
That's awesome! I love it. Yep.
On the Sul. Well, but whereas I think the attack of the Sul on the Baklunish was almost instantaneous.
Yeah, so that was more like one big spell or many big spells or something.
So I think the survivors there just happened to be living in the right places not to get hit directly. Whereas I think in the Reign of Colorless Fire, I think it was a slow process. Like it took days, weeks.
Yeah.
Enough time that people could make decisions like, hey, should we migrate out of here?
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Yep.
Should we sail away? Should we join with Sclerotin? Sclerotin is telling us to unite at the foothills of the crystalness.
So some rich people that were preppers or whatever could escape, so to speak, but a lot of the general population just succumbed because they didn't have the means to escape or the resources.
And imagine that you are in the capital and you're very arrogant. You're very arrogant. You don't think you're going to lose.
Yep.
So maybe you cast a magical dome over your city, like Gygax suggests in his novels.
Yeah.
And some of these people get trapped underneath the Sea of Dust.
Yeah, and if you take this book, they are still there. They're no longer Sul humans, but they're still there to a large degree, which is
1,000 years does a lot of damage.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
So there's a lot of cool stuff you could do with the Sea of Dust. Like I overheard you earlier, Jay. You were saying there's a lot of adventures, surprisingly, in that area.
Yeah, I mean that can be placed. I linked that Alan Grohe list, and it's so extensive
Yeah, you have albino, weird little albino creatures that live under the cities that Gord and Leda and the others have to fight and stuff.
Real quick, just let me go through a couple. We know, just so, and thank you for the follow. Thank you very much, Trap McFiggins. Nice name. So let's go through them real quick, because look at that. We're almost. It's 8:40 already. Oh my god, where did time go?
But this is so much fun. This is awesome to nerd out about.
Let's go through these real quick. So we know about Alec Bar. We know about Alec Bar, right? So that's there. Also, the desert.
Something you guys might be interested in noticing is that the name of Ekbir is literally Akbar.
Right.
Yeah. It's just a homonym for the same person. Yep. So Sam and I have been talking about this, the suggestion that, and this is something that I would probably do if I were retconning Greyhawk a little bit. I would probably name the cup and talisman after Ekbir.
Yeah, just so it's not
exactly. Call the god Ekbir and
call the god Ekbir.
Yeah.
He takes the cup and talisman, and like Moses, leads the survivors up to the north to the shores of the Dramage Ocean, and then founds this new nation, and then another nation is founded in Zeef, and so on and so on. So I think sorry, Jay, what were you saying?
It's all right. No, it's okay. So that's one.
So yeah, that module. Yeah,
that module is there, and then
I really love the cover to that module.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. So also the I series, you can place them wherever you want, right? The Desert of Desolation series are not. They're really not set anywhere. No one really retconned them officially into Greyhawk. Like you took.
Yeah, I think Eric Mona may have done a few mentions of them. I know Anna, you put some stuff on the maps, right?
Oh yeah, exactly. It's there. They Arir and so,
where are they on the map? The I series. Anna, you said they were on the map. The I series adventures.
Hang on a second. The I series, which
Desert of Desolation.
I3, I4, I5, I think.
I'm not sure where I put them on, but I read them, I think. So there should be somewhere. Yeah.
I think they're somewhere in her Backlunish lands.
Okay.
Oh yeah. I put so much stuff in here. So yeah.
Alan brought up these, which I completely forgot about.
We have Falanil Monastery, Asur Kem Monastery, and a bunch of they're in the they're west of all. They are.
But isn't that all that glitters?
That might be, I forgot. I read them all, and I tried to put every name I could find.
Yeah,
so to speak.
UK6, I believe, is up here.
Okay, so some of them are probably and then you have a lot of the name Antalol. You have Mukhasin.
Some of them are Monas too. Yeah. Right?
Darsari, but and a lot of them are from Living Greyhawk.
All right, so all the glitters. Go ahead, Gary.
And then Fred Wining, in his material for the Backlunish, did a great job of filling in more areas of the map. He created some additional kingdoms for the Backlunish. So it's almost like the people in the Flannis, the Iridians, the Great Kingdom, they have a very small picture of what's over there. They think Zeef and Ekbir are everything, and that there are not a large number of people there. But in fact, there may be, as many people as the Great Kingdom may have.
Yeah.
So that's something you could play with. I mean, the Barons, for instance, while all the buildings were destroyed by the invoked devastation, they seem to have recovered a little bit. So you can have some people living around the Barrens, whereas in the Sea of Dust, it's really impossible to survive. Right. It's just so caustic. Yeah. You have to live in the edges. And I should mention a great piece of Fanon, which is on the western side of the Sea of Dust, Lonacar.
So I wanted to ask this question. So
Amy.
Oh no, it's there. So is it on your map, Gary?
Is it on it?
Yeah, this one.
It's not on my map, but
it's not here,
I was going to say maybe Anna has it right.
Yeah, Anna has it right there.
Because I put it in my map.
There it is. There it is.
Yeah, there you go, up there. Yeah.
I've
actually changed it. Your map, I moved it further west. You can see. Go a little bit west.
Oh.
There you go. Up north.
This?
That area. I put it in there.
Oh, so it is on Gary's map.
It's in the latest version.
Right
I moved it because
it's not on mine because I took Anna's Photoshop and I took away the labels so that I could do
but that's where it is.
Exactly that. And the reason I moved it there and changed it was because that fit much better with the geography from Amy's article about Lonacar.
Here's the Lonacar map.
Exactly. So I recreated that to some degree.
Yeah. Amy and Nelisir have done a lot of work with that.
Yeah, so
Yep.
that's actually
A surviving Sewell city, so to speak. Yeah.
Yeah, survivors who didn't go to the east.
Yeah.
They decided to go west, so maybe their culture is different. Maybe they have
Yeah.
more of a Sewell imperial
probably
culture.
Norker, probably an incarnate map.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we also have
Lord
even
Dave.
further west. We don't even know. There might be surviving Origian. There might
Absolutely.
be surviving Sewell and stuff in the further west that we don't know about. Yeah.
I mean, even the piece of Auric we see there on that map is huge. I mean, that's probably as large as the United States.
Oh yeah,
to
meaning
the
this
to
enormous areas we can have. So
I mean,
there's plenty of room. Yeah.
I tend to think that in modern times, those mountains are basically separating those lands now from what are some kind of humanoid kingdoms.
Well,
Kingdoms
we
of
have the
orcs,
horrible
kingdoms of
name that shouldn't
hobgoblins.
be mentioned here,
Should
but
not be mentioned.
exactly.
But
But
people have come up with good replacement names and some
yes,
good
exactly.
replacement lore. Yeah. Oh, there. Okay.
Norker. Yeah, you mentioned it.
Norker suggests another great piece. This is what's great about the community is that people are able to contribute these things that 25 years later are still legendary.
Yeah.
Like people still remember them.
Yep.
You know, we'll never forget Altamira now. You know, it's just going to be.
Yeah.
So if you go down towards where that opening was to the sea.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah. So a Cannon Fire member called Talmeda wrote a series of articles where he was talking about how there might be Sewell successor states there.
Yep.
Survivors of the Imperium who didn't go very far, but did found some states there, and maybe these little city states are at war with each other. You can imagine your PCs being sent there on a little trip, maybe after they've handled the Savage Tide, or done some adventuring on the Isle of Dread, stolen by myself.
Meaning this area is ripe for development. Meaning, and you could take it in so many different directions depending on what your campaign needs, so to speak.
And you could send your PCs just from the Sea Princes or the Lordship Isles.
Yeah, and you can
they're
also
not too far away.
Exactly, and you can also have interesting mix here. You can have mixes of Sewell and Allman cultures that can be completely new and interesting, and add humanoids and others into the mix, and you can have some really interesting, cool stuff happening here too.
Yeah, you just think about what would happen if an empire of magic users ruled by magic users fell. Right, some people, like in Keoland, would actually be very wary of magic and be frightened to use it.
Yeah,
because it basically burned them literally.
Yeah, and then add Allmans living in the jungle, and then you can add in humanoids and other stuff, and Yantis and whatever, lizard men and cool stuff in the mix, and you have a very potent adventuring environment.
Norker asked a question, by the way. What does Gary and Adam think about the dusky-skinned Sea of Dust nomads from Greyhawk Adventures?
I'm not against them. I just don't want them to be a paint by numbers copy of Indians from the real world.
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking of what are the wanderers in the Middle East?
Yeah, but it's well, you have in the Saharas, you have the Tuaregs and various others, so to speak.
The ones near Palestine, Israel, Egypt, Bedouins.
Well, yeah, Bedouins is example of is Tuaregs in the Saharas and the others, and you have and
although you don't have
there's several cultures and stuff there, so
you don't have to go primitive at all. Maybe they discovered Sewell magic and are now wielding it very powerfully in their area, and so they're a tremendous threat.
But and also the Sea of Dust in itself is interesting because you can tweak and work with the dust itself to make interesting, cool stuff with it.
Didn't Gygax or someone mention that you could literally sail ships on the Sea
of Dust? Yes, that was my say that the dust can work more like a fluid in a way.
So it's almost like a salt flat.
Exactly. You can, and you can make either you can make it as a salt flat, that you can have things with wheels and sails on it. That's one way.
You could run a very dune-like setting there.
Exactly. Or you can make it magical, almost liquid dust, so to speak, that is dry, but you can actually sail through it. That's another one.
Something mentioned in chat, you could absolutely put Dark Sun-like characters there.
Yes.
Yeah, and unfortunately, we had John from Blue Box doing that right there, but he hasn't been on for a while, so unfortunately.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe the I can't remember the magic using people in Dark Sun who draw their power from the environment. Maybe they, essentially thrive off the Sea of Dust because of its present magicalness.
What a great discussion here. Oh, I didn't see this one. When did you put that one in with the Oldman Empire? Holy jeez.
Okay, well, since we were, so I discovered this a few days ago.
All right, let me
in
let
my
me risk it
folder
one more
in
time.
my folders in the Cannon Fire archives, where we keep where the Ark of the Covenant is, and the this is a map that I created to send to Eric Mona 20 years ago.
Wow.
Almost 20 years to the day.
Oh, it's a GIF.
In order,
it's going to save. We'll see if it shows. It
okay.
should. It should the way I do it. It should the way I do it.
Okay.
Because I'm just going to put it up on the screen as a pic. If I was putting in a scroller, it wouldn't work, but it should work. Give me a sec. Boom, 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 boom. It should work.
So this map serves two purposes.
There you go. Yep.
One, it tells you where the Oldman Empire stretched at its height.
Okay.
And it is also the first time the original placement of the Isle of Dread.
Isle of Dread. Wow. Look at that. Way down there.
I told Eric we're going to place it right below the page 18 map where the map cuts off. So it could always have been there. It just was cut off.
Nice.
And now I want to just add, meaning when I had my idea for having this period before the migrations being an ice age, is that the oceans were lower, so that was actually a land bridge between Hebona land, Tyrrhenian Peninsula, so the Oldman Empire was actually connected through land back then.
And that explains why you might see similar flora and fauna on both sides of the ocean.
That was my idea. And also why the Olmans kind of lost their empire, because when the oceans rise up, they lost a lot of their cities and their culture was simply submerged. And they were also marooned in the western and eastern part. So they were, they were divided up, so to speak.
I guess I'm not asking that question there, Gary, what the Norker
said. Yeah, I don't see many elk on the Isle of Dread. Sorry.
No,
Dave,
that's a bit too far south.
So it looks like it looks like the Oldman Empire over here is where the Scarlet Brotherhood now is.
Yeah.
Oh, but this is 1,300 years ago.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. So are they searching the Oldman Empire? Is what I'm saying.
So the Oldman Empire, yes. Okay. I mean, could you imagine? I mean, the Oldman Empire is not. They're magic wielding, high powerful priests. Their cities were, dominant. So you could imagine that in the jungle, like our real jungles of Mesoamerica, there may be buried cities that are completely covered by jungle. And since Greyhawk doesn't have LiDAR, then we can't find them, and we have to just discover them the old-fashioned way.
Exactly. You have to go around using magic and simply explore. Yeah.
So it's suggested, Jay, that at some point the Oldmen in the east started fighting each other. And then they began to suffer Yuan-Ti plagues. Yuan-Ti were taking over their cities, basically infecting the populations with this, snake sickness. And so people started to move from east to west. And so the last city of the empire is Zamaclan, which is at the lower
left. Yeah, it's still there.
Yeah. And the Isle of Dread was an outpost of their empire in the Pearl Sea. And that also outlived the empire a little bit, and then fell, of course, because of the Savage Tide.
You can find out about the Olmans in the Sea Princes reference by Sean Reynolds.
Yeah.
Correct?
An interesting factoid. Other than the islands, the Oldmen are not mentioned as a race or culture in the 83 box set.
Exactly. It's a later addition to it. Yep.
So that's where fans see things, and then in their head, we backfill, and we backfill.
There it is. That's the last Oldman right there.
Yep.
Yeah. So there you'll still see pyramid ziggurats, whatever you want to call them, and the gods of the Oldman are still.
Yeah.
The Forgotten City.
It's so cool because you can weave that into the story and kind of tweak it here and there, add stuff, and
there may be
really cool.
And the island the island chains that you see across here in the Tensec Gulf, I kind of imagine that the Oldmen were able to look a little bit like both Mesoamericans, South Americans, but also Polynesians.
Yeah.
You might have a Polynesian-like culture in those areas.
Because once again, they were actually exploring into the wind because the theory of that is you go into the wind, and it's a lot easier to get back going with the wind. Right.
And also the wind shift from season to season. So you can go there one and wait 6 months and then go back again and stuff. So it's like the trade winds and so on. So
and there was a time 1,200 years ago, 1,300 years ago, when the Sewell and the Ullman were plying these waters and trading with each other, perhaps fighting with each other. That might have been an interesting campaign setting to play with.
Yeah, and also if the oceans were much lower, then that also means that a lot of these islands were much more accessible
and much larger.
Yep.
Of course, we went off on a tangent, everyone.
Yeah,
that's the great thing.
Jay, if you want to show the image, the first one I sent you with
the black and white one with color in it. Yep.
With the latitudes.
This one.
So this is a suggestion. I mean, by no means am I telling people what they have to do in their campaign, but I always looked at the migration map and it wasn't always very convincing to me.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so I felt that there was room for improvement. And so when you look at this map, you see essentially a maritime route for the Sewell to leave the Imperium. The possibility that they saw the dust coming. And let's face it, in the case of the Sewell, we also knew that people were leaving years before the reign of Carlos Fire. So for political or economic reasons, they were already leaving, possibly because you were being conscripted into the war, and made to fight and you didn't want to. So maybe that's the origin of our Rizians all the way. They were being pursued in a very general sense just to become soldiers in the Imperium. And then, this provides a complete explanation for why we see Sewell in the Azure Sea, on the East Coast, in various places, because they have arrived there maritime. Now, I don't completely shut off the land route. We still have the tribes who cross
in the Sheldamar Valley and the south central part of the Flannese.
Exactly.
Definitely.
And the Maor who go, hey, is there somebody here who's an expert on Maor in the chat?
Well, yes.
Maor Castle? No.
Yes.
So, we have Sewell going all the way into the Ernst States. And then if you look at the green lines, the writing is very tiny, but it suggests where the various Orid tribes were stopping off on their migrations. And then the Baclunish are the blue lines. And then, we have some unknown origin for some humanoids who were pressing the Oridians back to the
they
east.
They can have been brought in as mercenaries or slave labor or whatever, so to speak. They might have, or fled along, meaning if they lived in some areas of these wars, they might have fled alongside humans simply because these countries' lands became uninhabitable. And we know the Sewells were messing around with a lot of stuff. And the Baclunis have humanoid warriors and stuff to this day. So that might have.
We forget that the author of the 83 box set was probably Iridian, maybe Iridi.
Exactly.
But he or she had their own biases, and they aren't going to tell you, the hero story of the orcs, right?
Exactly.
The orcs suffering and getting across the mountains and finding lands to live in the north, even though the humans kept.
It's the Great Kingdom story we get.
It is.
Held from, what was it, 993 common years? So it's like 300 years in the future that story is written. So there can be a lot of things that aren't true there.
And so here I suggest the possibility that some of these Iridians may have gone north and lived in this, it has a temperate edge, this continent. Anna can show you more with her biome maps.
And it, sorry.
Okay, I see.
Wow. But imagine a people who in almost every respect look like Sumerians. I mean, they could literally be Conan-like people up there.
Yeah.
A perfect place.
Yeah, and I placed where you have that green arrow going up to the Telshurians, that area left on just west of that arrow on the southern shore of the ocean there, that's where I placed the geography of the Lankhmar setting. What if you put Lankhmar then and simply say, well, that's an Iridian city that is not tied to the Iridian culture in the east, but they stayed and built it, so to speak. So because geographically that fits both climate-wise and area geography fits. So if you want to put Lankhmar, you can put it there, and you can even give it an Iridium Sewell history.
Oh my gosh, it would be perfect in that Sea of Hyperborea area. You could put a lot of those Howardian cultures,
Yeah.
from the Conan mythos.
Yep. And then you can have
also.
humanoids and outside in the south there and stuff like that too. So so there is a lot of cool possibilities where the geography really fits well, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, Rob would definitely tell us how influenced Greyhawk was by the pulp authors of the last century, and so we would definitely love to see that. I would rather see that, Anna, than just a copy of China.
Exactly.
Yeah,
to me, it's much more fun to put these more fantasy-esque places and not make it a world analogy, so to speak, a real world analogy.
That's not true, Troy. It's just for this. Gary doesn't really have that reference point, right, for this discussion on this. So that's not true, right? We're talking about this. We're talking about this whole despotic. So they have it worked up. They have the Gazetteer worked up for this.
Oh yeah, that's one cool way of doing it.
There's definitely material here that you can use for this.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
And fans will fill in the map. Fans will fill in the map that WotC refuses to do.
Exactly.
Right
we will literally build and fill in the map. Yeah.
And there's Hyperborea. This is further west.
That's way further west than this map covers. So yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. So like I said, there's a lot.
Cool. That was maps that Troy did based on my Earth maps and stuff. So yeah.
I mean, you could definitely have an entire Sinbad-like campaign in the Toronto Ocean. There is so much material there you could use, and it would fit those those legends perfectly. Sea of Dust a little more difficult, but again, you're very close to the Sea Princes, to what's that city down Sassarine and Cauldron.
Yeah.
You could find your way over those mountains perhaps when they're not spewing lava. But yeah, you could definitely run a whole Greyhawk campaign that has nothing to do with the Flannis, and it would be interesting.
But I wouldn't do it.
Jay, it is on the right side of the map.
Jay doesn't even get out of the Wild Coast.
That's it.
No, but it's on the right side of the map.
That's not true. I get as far as the Shieldlands and
I'm just going to say but you occasionally been there.
You're a big Greyhawk guy. I find that one of the first cleaves behind a Greyhawk fan is whether they're a City of Greyhawk person or not. Some Greyhawk fans they love the domain of Greyhawk. They love that region, lots of material, and some DMs just completely eschew it. They love to go far to the corners of the map and look for places that aren't very well detailed and make them their own. Speaking of which, where's Greyhawk Mike?
He's gaming.
So Mike only comes on like once every 3 weeks now when his game gets canceled because he has his game with his friends got moved to Wednesday nights. Yeah, so that's why we've been having so many guests on. Like we had Malden on a couple times because we did the Free City Greyhawk tour. We've had Les on, we've had Sam on. We've been mixing it up with other guests. Will has come on, so we've had a lot, and we appreciate you coming on too. So yeah.
If any DMs out there have used the Al-Qadim material for Back Cornish Lands, I'd love to hear how they made it work, how it fit with their campaigns.
Yeah, I was just talking to someone who did an entire campaign in Al-Qadim. I forget, it was a woman, and I can't remember who it was. I was talking to her, and I was like, "Wow, my gosh, she did a ton of it." Yeah, they loved Al-Qadim, but I'm not sure where they placed it. Yeah, so yeah, and maybe some Greyhawk 98 sources.
Maybe the Thrycreen were Soul cockroaches that evolved in the sea.
Yeah.
My theory on that is if you go to a place that you can survive and others can't, and you have an advantage, you go there. I mean, yeah. So that's my theory on that. Maybe they were underground and then they came out after.
I love the idea that they're not evil, just evil. That they could be any alignment and kind of they could really be an interesting player character race if you run a campaign in an area. See, if you want to have Dragonborn in your campaign, the Sea of Dust and places like this is the perfect place to have because no one's going to look twice at you. There's so many other things to worry about.
Absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of options you have. And that's as another Drummer's Ocean has warm currents within it. I have an expansion for it being warm water. So that means that it's like Europe. So it's going to have right. It's not going to get as cold. Is that what you're saying? Right. It's going to be like Ireland and all.
Sorry.
Well, I have a particular heresy that Anna does not share, which is I break the big continent Vorik into two.
Oh yes, you did. But I do, but only in the warm periods when the ocean is high. Then it's actually split into three. There's a center part, and there's two. Yeah, it's split into three. So a part of history, it's actually two.
Yeah, during
and
an ice
sometimes it's
age.
three.
Yeah, during an ice age, it's probably one
Oh yeah, then
Pangea
it's
like
even
continent.
bigger. Then it's much bigger, so to speak. So it depends on what the climate. And I want to have it like it shifts up and down over the
Placed a map from one of the Albertine type mods.
Yeah, I could imagine.
That's cool, Malden.
I could imagine a Gulf Stream, pushing north through there, the Sea of Hyperborea.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, stuff guys have talked about is maybe putting in like a tropical storm simulator in there, so you can tell your PCs when there's a hurricane coming to the Sea Princes.
Yeah, weather simulator. It's in my plans and hope that I can start a Greyhawk weather service and present weather maps like once a week, once a month.
Oh my gosh!
Throughout the year, so to speak, and you can use it. So that's something I want to do. I want to start a Greyhawk weather service, so you can go to my website and find out what the weather is in different parts of so on, and then update it regularly and have them downloaded. I just need to. That's something when I have a GIS maps, I can make maps like that a lot faster and easier. That because they need to have fantastic weather symbols and stuff like that. So yep.
Yeah. So create, invent a still suit for your PCs, have them go into the Sea of Dust and explore. And maybe they get out there on one of these air-driven dust ships. And, if they had a map like mine, like the one where the Sol Imperium was still around, maybe they found one in an old library, then they know where to dig. They could go straight down from the dust into what might be a city that hasn't been plundered yet. So.
Yeah. And Ruskill, you haven't lived in Scandinavia or Ireland.
Yeah, it's not the case. or Seattle.
Yeah, or Seattle. Yeah.
So look at that. We're well over 9 o'clock already. Is that amazing? That is awesome. I mean, we're just rolling through stuff here. So, give us something to think about in closing, Anna, and then Gary here.
Well, I must say it's a really interesting region. It's gigantic, so there's a lot of room for a lot of stuff because the geography is big. It's also a part that is really steeped in history and ancient history that is only sprinkled in. We only know little sprinkles of nuggets of information, meaning you can build your own version of this, and it's really so cool that you can kind of build your own pre-version of Greyhawk, so to speak. So it's ripe for world building and history building and stuff. So it's a super interesting region that is only now starting to get a lot of fan attention lately and stuff being added. Yeah.
And Rex Phyllis wants some words about the dry steps.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about it.
Well,
enough.
You showed where you blew it up, Gary. You showed where it was going to get blown up.
We talked about it a little bit in the early parts too, but we didn't. Yeah, sorry.
So who's there right now? Like who's wandering around the dry steps in your campaign? Is it?
Well, we have there've been like we have parts of old Bakluni tribes, so to speak, that are still and they are the Paynims. And also if you take this book, they are detailed fairly well, so to speak. There's a lot of
that is
because Gordy is interacting with them, he's fighting with them, he's fooling them, he's getting help by them, and so on and so forth. So
the Gygax books may not be like Tolkien literature, but they do give you a very good feel for what he thought the campaign was like, especially places like the city of Greyhawk and the Sea of Dust. So they're definitely useful for that.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, this book really feels like the third book in the Saga of Old City and Artifact of Evil, and this one, which my guess is that he wrote all three while he was still working at TSR, and then this got published afterwards. That's my guess, because this one very much feel like a third book in that series, so to speak. And but the other books afterwards have a much different feel, and he went on tangents. This one is tying in to the first two books, Saga of Old City and Artifact of Evil, perfectly. This is part 3 of those books, so to speak.
Yeah, and in the last book, he destroys the setting, which from a standpoint of what happened to him, you can kind of understand.
Yeah. It's only a few names and stuff that are changed
Yeah.
in here, so to speak.
Well,
So,
come on. Who
yeah.
doesn't want to
Names are
destroy
changed to
things? I
protect
mean,
the innocent.
everyone
Exactly.
destroys
Yeah.
things. Look at Living Greyhawk.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
did they
Well, thank
kill?
you, Rex Phyllis. So yeah. So this one. So read all three and then
Yeah.
just switch out a few of the names, and here and you go.
Now, you don't have to actually use these places as campaign settings in order to get a lot of value out of them.
Yes.
So you have things like the Cup and Talisman that are lost in the Flannis, right?
All the orbs of Dragonkind came out of the sea.
All the orbs of Dragonkind from the Soul are in the Flannis.
Yes.
You have the Jacinth of Inestimable Beauty is somewhere lost in Keoland, apparently, which is a very powerful artifact. So, and then you have Soul Liches, right, who are wandering around causing evil.
Just use one.
Yeah, just use one, and then hint at some background to them in the Soul Imperium, and you can get away with most anything that way.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean that's that's how basically I started when I was thinking about the Silent Ones and Keoland and elements there. I was just thinking, what would people that escape the Imperium look like or feel like or act like, and that's where I just got those ideas from. So,
that's right, Gary. I forgot you were so crazily enamored when Ed Greenwood was using all your groups a couple weeks ago. Isn't that nuts?
Yeah, that was very nuts. Yeah, very nice. And one of my favorite places is the Lost Passage. So if you want to give your PCs a taste of the Sea of Dust, send them into the Lost Passage, have them encounter some very weird things.
And it's the passage of Slerutin is marked on my map. So if you go to the Dark Gate in southwest Yeomanry, and you can go from there, so to speak. So it's
Gary has it. Gary, along with and if you missed that, Jason's wrote. It's been 2 years since Jason's departed. It's been longer than that. I lose track of time.
I think it's.
It's gonna be. It was 2 years last Christmas.
Oh, so
we're heading to
2.5.
3. Yeah, we're heading to 3.
Em and Potter, both that Gary and Jason have it. That it's all Soul are based on the Moorcock. Elric of Melnibone and stuff. It kind of fits. So which is possible.
Yeah.
So
someday we're going to have a Spinecastle Gazetteer, and we're going to dedicate it to Jason because it seemed to be his favorite place.
Yes.
Before he passed. So
Les kills you all there all the time, doesn't he? Isn't that part of what
Les has done wonderful things with it.
I heard there was a party wipe.
But we did lose Ancient Gamer and a few other people.
Well, he always dies everywhere. Patrick always dies. I feel bad for him. He gets killed every. It doesn't even matter the setting.
But if you ever have
messed up,
if you ever have a chance to play in Virtual Greyhawk Con in a game that Les is running, take it.
Yep.
Doesn't matter what edition or where it's set.
Absolutely, and we're going to start doing announcements for that. Probably within the next week or two, because end of June is
it's coming fast.
To sign up put events in and register.
Do you already know what weekend it's going to be?
4th through the 6th of October.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully Curtis doesn't have his
it doesn't matter.
Anniversary there.
Curtis is gonna bag his anniversary this time.
He needs to
it's 4th
postpone
through the 6th,
or have it early. Yeah.
Also, I am told 2 weeks before that, I don't know if we have any
mid-September
big Castles and Crusades Troller Games. Troller Games is having a con in Little Rock, Arkansas, the weekend 2 weekends before.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Are they virtualizing it?
I think it's all in person. I think you're expecting 250 people. So and I've been invited, so we'll see. I may go.
I am going to be in Dallas the first week of June.
Oh, you going to North Texas?
I may have an excuse to pop in for a few minutes.
I would.
Damn! Now I need to go to North Texas. I need to get a ticket here. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
We'll see. Hopefully.
That's awesome. Well, it's going to be the first one. That's what Chuck told me. I'll get more details from Chuck. Triller Games coming up on that. So I'm just keeping that we can open, because I was going to go to ReaperCon. I just can't get there. It's just Labor Day weekend. It's so hard. It's so freaking hard to get there. So hope you guys all enjoyed this discussion. This was pretty awesome, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And if anybody's questions didn't get answered, pop them into the Cannon Fire Discord. And
yes, please. Once again, I'm going to put out both. Here's Cannon Fire Discord and Virtual GrowkCon, Growk Events Discords are both right there. So, Gary, anything you want to shout out?
Just the Visions of Greyhawk 3 is coming soon.
Nice.
Working on the final edits on it. So
good deal.
Yeah, we'll share that with the community hopefully in the next few weeks.
That is awesome. That's great.
Other projects which cannot be mentioned because
lots going on, right? Yeah.
As Anna knows, there's just so many things on the back burner.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Don't I know it? So much going on, man. I'm lucky if I know what day of the week it is half the time. You know, it's just
these weeks are just flying by so fast.
They are. They're flying by like crazy. It's so much here.
It's just us getting old. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I'm trying.
Anna, my niece just drove me yesterday. She just got her license. She's 17. So
wow, there you go.
I was a little scared, but she did a great job. So.
Awesome.
Volpe's Vox. Thank you very much.
You survived. Yeah.
So
yes, I did.
Just note for memories, this is the 245th Legends and Lore. All these are on. They stay on Twitch for 90 days, and they go into my YouTube mirror. Permanently.
Okay.
Yes, good.
Oh, well, Sam just reminded me of something. I cannot forget this.
There's all the show.
Sam and I are writing a little commentary about Vecna as a character in D&D.
Oh.
We're timing it to be released around the same time as 5E's effort, Eve of Ruin. And so it's a little academic. So
I would love it.
But a huge chunk of it is lore that we've created for Vecna for Greyhawk campaigns, which I think you guys would really love.
Nice.
Yes, awesome. So it will be published on Cannon Fire?
Yeah, it's going to be a PDF, and we'll spread it everywhere and give it to Jay.
Awesome. Thank you.
I get to save this for another day, opening up the many things. That's very cool. All right, Annie, you got anything else to shout out? Are you on Friday?
Yes, I'm on Friday, and I just posted for my patrons a post about projections, looking in because we need I need to start working on the presentation of both the planetary maps and stuff when I'm putting them into GIS, because that makes a lot of possibilities, but it also, these possibilities need to be utilized in a responsible manner, so to speak. So map responsibly. So I'm kind of explaining a lot of pros and cons and what's needed, and give some examples and stuff. That's I posted that today. Tomorrow there will be an article about my house rules, the core rules and resolution mechanics in my house rules is coming tomorrow. With how I do D20 checks and stuff like that, and the basics of character creation and stuff. So a lot of the essential basics in my new house rules are coming tomorrow. And yeah, that's
how's
the next
MH4 crashes going? Better? For I guess for map making, right? You're still crashing.
Oh yeah, it's still crashing. So yeah, so no hope there, so to speak. It was not an easy fix. But the interesting thing is that I need to write a blog post about that too, because there is like one new tool per month coming out. So there's like 3-4 new tools. So this problem will be solved one way or the other, but it might take a few months or the rest of the year before we get there. But one of these tools will get it done, so to speak, and fixed soon.
And is AI coming into the mapping space anytime
yes
soon?
Definitely. Oh yes, it's coming in. It's not coming in like it's in Midjourney or Chat GTP, but it's coming, and in a few years it will help us do a lot of cool stuff, so to speak. And especially coming into the game engines will come with a lot of AI built in very soon. And in my idea, that will be one of the more responsible uses of AI, I think, that is coming. So AI that can understand things like geology and things like that. So this is definitely in a few years' time, you will start doing things that were impossible. Meaning, if a couple of years ago it was not even technically feasible or possible to do a map of Greyhawk, the scale at the resolution I'm doing. Now it's making it possible. And in a couple of years, it will probably be not easy, but way easier than it is today. So right now it's a little bit of a waiting for the goodies to come, but the tools will be here. It's a matter of if it take a month or a year, but within a year, I will have the tools I want again and the tools I need. So I'm not worried about that. It's just, I have a bunch of stuff to do in the meantime, so to speak, but it might take up to a year before it's sold, so to speak, or someone else have sold it. But But I'm working on the bleeding edge of what the technology can do, so to speak. So, and I talk about that in my projections article or blog post a bit, because I have to reverse engineer. Because if you map the real world, you can just go out, measure it, and use the data. I have to literally create the data, and that presents a whole bunch of other stuff, so to speak, because no one has done it to the scale and the ambition and scope that I'm working on. So I'm kind of working at the bleeding edge here. So that's why it's there's some setbacks, but there's also advances. So I will have to move into city mapping and finish wrapping up my GIS project and stuff. So there will definitely be stuff that I will do, but I will be a little bit of different stuff, so to speak. So things will come in a different order than I assumed 6 months ago. So yeah.
All right, let's go through this real quick. So tomorrow is thank you very much. I think that was I think Patrick hit you up with one, Gary. That's great to see. So here's some terrain scenes from Hunters of the Sun. We all know the Son of Orcus supposedly got banished from the Sus Forest during the fundraiser, right? But there's basically a demonic hit squad out that's just slaughtering things because they're seeking revenge for the banishment, and this group of high-level adventurers is attempting to thwart them. So, and they found them using an artifact in a dungeon magazine, which was Fiend's Embrace, right? Which is the Egwolf cloak in that adventure, if you remember, the one that supposedly Grazitz gave. Well, Gilthanus Markham has it, and he used it because it's basically demonic, skin and all, to locate where to track our wonderful demons here. Here's
nice.
Yeah, so some of this terrain is new stuff from Gary Con that the Gamescape 3D did. So he just sent me all the outsides and the underlays. He said, "Jay, just have at it." So I got the mines, I got everything for it. So yeah, it's
what's that pile of corpses there?
Yeah, you like that? Yeah. It's a wall of bones. It's a wall of bones.
Oh,
nice.
Yes, that's actually a spell in Oriental Adventures. There's actually a spell called Wall of Bones, so it's a necromancer spell in my game.
Yeah, there's a wall of flesh too around.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there you go, and it looks familiar there, Jeremy, doesn't it? From the stuff that was shown at Gary Con. All right, so that's tomorrow night, Hunters of the Sun, Thursday night. Reaper Miniatures giveaway, start of the month. Saturday morning, see the toothless Marcus, which is Patrick Canadian Gamers character, Rob Phantom NJ, Balfrin, Jimmy Duffy. My son, Coco Bunny's playing for the first time, so we're gonna have a bunch of fun. Who am I missing? I'm missing someone. Gosh. Oh well. Sorry who I missed. But we have like 6 players in it. It's called the First or Last Patrol. I guess if they all die, it's the last patrol. So that's tomorrow, Saturday morning, 9 a.m. A special one. No, Carlos is no, he's not playing. He can't play, and I don't think Tim. You're not getting dental implants in this is the next day. You're not getting dental implants in 24 hours, there, dude. So you can get them. Yeah, that's how quick this is going off. Some other things going up. The Saturday after, Death in the Lort Mills. All right, so the group Nuclear Meat is back at it. That'll be fun. So we have a specialty priestess of Saint Benedor in this, Gary. Brand new character. So she is sending them on. Yes.
I will be buying them a hero point.
There you go. That's Minnesota Muse who's playing that character. She's half elven from Selene, and she, she's a death knight / undead hunter priestess. So they'll be sending on.
Are you DMing, Jay, or is this one of the guest DMs?
I DM. I DM. The next guest DM's not till the 25th. So yeah, I'm DMing.
I'm just gonna say, it's Chico's birthday today, so I gave it. This is birthday present, and it's special liver treats, and I can tell he likes them. They haven't opened them, and so
he's so cute.
You can smell them. Yeah. Thank you, Jingo. Also, the 18th, 6 p.m. This is you're calling it the Red Wedding, but it's just a wedding.
Oh my
event.
God, that's a rogues gallery.
Look at that. Yeah. Well, Venerian Vord is marrying 2 members of the Slav Squad who, Gary, they both converted to Ralashaz.
Oh my God. that marriage is going to be cursed with bad luck.
Well, it gets even better. remember Virtual Greyhawk 1. Remember what Varian Vord did during Virtual Greyhawk 1. He stole the tongue of Rogera Bloodmoon, that powerful soul, Tulsa Doom-like person,
Right.
and sold it to Omni. Well, you reap what you sow from that. You'll see. Oh, yes. This is 5 years later.
That's a teaser.
I can't wait. Varian Vord has brought it all upon everyone else. His luck has finally caught up with him. So thank you, Devray. Thank you so very much. So that is on the 18th. The 25th, I'll get the banner up for this next week. Bones is DMing for myself and William Henry Dvorak and Darling and Myriad in a game, a different style game. We use cards instead of dice. So she's the next guest GM. That's the 25th. That's the last Saturday. Now I got room for Rob Kuntz Saturday morning the 18th or Saturday morning the 25th, because those two games are both night games. 6 p.m. And that's a Central Daylight Time. That should say Eastern Daylight Time. I got to change that. Saturday, May 18th, it should say EDT. That's my bad. All right, let's do the giveaway. So I suggest, because this is for Zeb Cook, I have this Temple of Death, which is Desert Nomad series, and a Treasures here. But for one winner, you can pick, though. Isn't it? You can't wait for the nuptials. I know. Fritz Winchester is going to make a special appearance, too. It's going to be awesome.
Just don't tell us about the wedding night.
Yes, well, we'll see if that even. Yeah. I promise not to destroy the actual ceremony itself. So,
what are these both characters in the game who are human, elven, or
a half orc female and a human and a half elf female?
Oh my God, an abomination!
Yes, Myriad's character and Bones' character. That's gonna be all. I can't wait.
Maybe the orc and the elf will separate and you'll just get a human.
Oh my God, Justinius Greg, who told us he had to leave, and I said it wasn't a big deal, Greg. You told me you went into lurk mode. He's got it. I will get with him. Yeah, I told him he was good for it. He's a long-term subscriber, so thank you so very much. Now please sit tight. First time ever, because Aaron was on earlier, and he's good friends with Tim from Stronghold. We're going to go into a first time ever that we've ever raided into another world tabletop. All right. So please sit tight, say hello, give him a follow if you so choose, and thank you all for the hypes. Thank you for everything. Gary, thanks for coming on. This was awesome.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah,
great discussion.
It's a fun topic.
Yeah, definitely. And we'll have a lot more coming up. We still don't have a topic for Sunday Gathering next Wednesday.
Yeah, Dennis owes us.
Dennis has been lurking around. If he wants to
talk Melkot and Irongate.
That would be a great one. Yeah, that would be a great one to do up in the very near future. Like I said, we don't have a topic for next Wednesday or the Wednesday after. So, always hypes. There's always hypes. All right, I'm gonna set the raid up. Thank you for the hype train going into level 2. It's really appreciated. And once again, thank you for making this channel get the sub partner goal to level 1, which is awesome. I'm humbled by it, and it means a lot to me. Hard work has paid off these years. It's the first time actually I've gotten something from Twitch instead of stuff being taken away, so it feels good. So, thank you all. Really appreciate it. And we'll see you soon. Please sit tight for this raid, all right? And say hello, because going in with 80 plus would be pretty cool. They have 18 on now. I think that would be really, really cool. So, see you all. These buttons aren't working. That's why I haven't hit any wrong buttons, I'm guessing. I hit the wrong button there. Wrong button there. See, I'm guessing now. There we go. I got it now. Thank you. We'll see you tomorrow night, 7:30. All right, setting the raid up. Boom, 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 boom.
Raid.
Yes.
Raid.
Another world. Got it. I'd love to get over 80 and that'll quadruple their total. Almost put them to 100 viewers. Nice, really close. That's perfect. 75, 4, 3, 2, 1. See you tomorrow night. That's awesome.
Oh my God! I get there and it says your browser encountered an error.
Yeah, 79. That was good. Popped over. Yep.
Refresh.
There you go. Yeah, that'll be really.